Chapter 506. The few of them were shocked and put down their phones timidly. However, they also felt a little dissatisfied with Hua Xiaofeng. Was that leader Hua? That scumbag ex-fiancé of Sister Su? Why is he glaring at us? We didn't do anything to him. What else can he do? He's just venting his anger on us. I heard that leader Hua has a bad temper. When he first joined the company, he was so arrogant. He would scold his subordinates whenever he was unhappy. I have a friend who was in his team. Just because she forgot to mark the page number on her work report, he scolded her in front of so many people until she cried. How ungentlemanly. Speaking of which, I suddenly remembered that a few days ago, a friend of mine and I saw that mistress hugging another man in a restaurant. They looked very intimate. Mistress? Which mistress? The mistress that leader Hua found. Who else could it be? Are you saying that mistress found another man behind leader Hua's back and cheated on him? That can't be. Who knows? But it's not impossible. What's the mistress after? Isn't it money? Leader Hua used to be the legitimate young master of the family Hua and the heir of the Hua Corporation. Now that he's been kicked out of the Hua Corporation and can't even protect himself, of course mistress would find another family. No wonder she was so angry. She must have been dumped by mistress. Plus, she saw how loving President Hua and President Su are, so she was jealous. She deserves it. Scumbags are all bad. Hua Xiaofeng didn't know that because of his glare, the female employees in the company had a bad impression of him. They even thought that he had been cheated on by Wen Jingping and that he deserved it. What was the most attractive event of a company's anniversary celebration? Of course, it was the lucky draw. After all, it was a big event for the 40th anniversary. The Hua Corporation had put in a lot of money this time. The lucky draw prizes ranged from luxurious houses and cars to simple daily necessities. Su Yiyan and Hua Qinhuan were just bystanders. Logically speaking, they didn't need to get involved in this kind of thing. However, perhaps it was because Hua Qinhuan's leg had recovered, or perhaps it was because old Master Jiang had clearly shown that he wanted to be on good terms with Hua Qinhuan. In order to please the couple, his subordinates even specially came over to ask if they wanted to go up on stage to draw a prize for the festive occasion. When Su Yiyan heard this, her interest was immediately piqued. She turned to look at Hua Qinhuan. Do you want to go up? Let's go together. Hua Qinhuan saw that she was full of enthusiasm, and the corners of her mouth curled up. She reached out and took the flowers in Su Yiyan's arms. She smiled and said, You go, I'll help you hold the flowers. Oh, do you have any prizes that you like? I'll go and get them for you. Hua Qinhuan looked at the confident expression on her face that said, As long as you say the word, I will definitely get them for you. She instinctively glanced at the lucky draw prizes placed on the side. She directly skimmed past the tempting luxurious houses and cars and fixed her gaze on a pair of couples' cups. This pair of couples' cups each had a light pink pig printed on it. The style was very proper, and there was nothing special about it. However, Hua Qinhuan still looked at it. Su Yiyan followed his gaze and saw the two cups. Her eyes flickered slightly, and she quickly understood what he was thinking. She smiled and said, Those two cups, right? Wait a minute, I'll go up and get them back. Okay. The staff members waiting at the side were speechless. What was there to draw from those two lousy cups? No one could see through Rich Rao's thoughts. Chapter 507. Su Yiyan went up the stage with a smile on her face under the surprised and curious gazes of the crowd. She looked calm and confident, but in fact, she was crazily calling for her cheat in her mind, System, system, come out and help me. Under Su Yiyan's desperate calls, the pitiful system lagged for a few seconds before slowly coming online. What help? Give me a cheat and let me win those two couple cups. The system was speechless. You called me out in such a hurry just to let me help you cheat and win a couple cup? Do you think that stupid thing is worthy of my status? Don't think that just because you're rich, You don't care about mansions and luxurious cars. Su Yiyan saw that the system did not respond and thought that it did not have such a skill. She said regretfully, "Can't I?" She thought that this thing was a high-end skill. If it was something else, it could at least be used as a cheat for the lottery. She did not expect it to be so useless. The system was speechless. "Don't you know that I can hear your inner thoughts? You're so blatantly looking down on me, aren't you afraid that I'll find an opportunity to make you wear your shoes?" Although it was complaining, the system still showed its reliable professional ethics at the crucial moment. "Yes, spend 1,000 favorability points to exchange for a good luck halo. The more luck you want, the more favorability points you need to spend." 1,000 favorability points was not high for Su Yiyan now. However, in the beginning, other than Hu Qinhuan and those close to her, everyone else's favorability points increased bit by bit. 1,000 favorability points meant 1,000 people. It was not cheap. Especially when the things she wanted were not high in value. If she wanted to win a house or a car, she would need to spend at least a few million favorability points. "Okay, exchange, 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 quickly give me another one." Su Yiyan's eyes shone as she exchanged for a good luck halo. Then, she pressed the button for the lottery with anticipation. The screen spun a few times before a line of words popped up. "Excellence Award, Couple Cup." The crowd below couldn't help but look regretful when they saw this. Hu Qihan's family even showed contempt. Obviously, they didn't think much of Su Yiyan's luck. However, to everyone's surprise, Rao Su Yiyan, who was the victim, showed a happy and satisfied smile and urged the staff to quickly give her the cup. After successfully obtaining the couple's cup, Su Yiyan immediately ran back to Hu Qinhuan's side and asked happily, "Am I awesome?" Hu Qinhuan took the couple's cup from her and praised sincerely, Yan Yan is the best." The people sitting next to the two of them. "That's enough, flashing lights are prohibited in public." The celebration lasted for about 2 hours. Su Yiyan and Hu Qinhuan seemed to have endless things to talk about, so it wasn't boring. The pitiful people sitting near them were almost blinded by the dazzling light. Sometimes, a good relationship didn't need to be blindly spoken. An occasional action, or even a look, could make people feel like they were eating dog food. After one round, the few of them didn't do anything, but they were inexplicably full. The two of them were just here to go through the motions. The show was over, so they should leave. However, it was different from when they first arrived. After 2 hours of settling down, many people had already recovered from the initial surprise. Their thoughts had also spun several times in their minds. One by one, they rushed over to Hu Qinhuan and his wife to get close to them. Chapter 508. Qinhuan is all grown up now. If I hadn't heard old Jiang mention him, I wouldn't have recognized him. But he looks more and more like old Hua. Is this Qinhuan's little wife? Is she the daughter of the Su family? She's so pretty. I can tell that she's a blessing to you. Ha 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 ha, it's been more than 20 years. The little girl I carried back then has also started a family. It's good that you've recovered. Your parents in heaven will definitely be happy for you. Greetings like these were all old acquaintances trying to get close to each other. Su Yiyan and old Jiang laughed and chatted for a while. Then, they left in a hurry, citing that they had something to do at home. However, what everyone did not notice was that Hu Qinhuan nodded in a certain direction before leaving. She made eye contact with someone for a moment before quickly looking away. After leaving the Hua Corporation, the two rushed home as fast as they could. Unsurprisingly, they saw an acquaintance at home. "Qinhuan, Miss Su." "Uncle Jiang, if you don't mind, just call me Yayan." "I'm sorry to have kept you waiting." That's right, the person who appeared at the family Hua was old Master Jiang, whom the two had met not long ago. No, I just arrived." Old Master Jiang took a step forward subconsciously. Then, he seemed to have thought of something, and his expression was a little bitter. "Actually, I came today, I know. Qinhuan told me in the car just now." Old Master Jiang had indeed gone to the celebration with Hu Chenhuan. The guest that Gu Xiaoyang had mentioned to Su Yiyan in the car before was Old Master Jiang. However, there was a slight discrepancy. At that time, he did not take the initiative to look for Hu Chenhuan. Instead, it was Hu Chenhuan who invited him over. Old Master Jiang was also a pitiful person. His wife died early, leaving only a young son for him. He worked hard to raise his son alone and never married another woman. However, because he only cared about making money and neglected his son's education, his son did not inherit the same feelings he had for his wife. Instead, he was a playboy who was 100% a rich second generation. His daughter-in-law was a beautiful and virtuous young lady from a rich family. The two of them had known each other since university and married him right after graduation. She had given birth to a daughter and a son for him. However, she did not expect that her husband had already raised a bewitching mistress outside. Under the urging of the mistress, he brought the mistress into the house, angering the legal wife to death. When this scum saw that his wife was angered to death, not only did he not have the slightest bit of remorse, he was very happy to help his mistress and marry her. Old Master Jiang's grandson was young and hot-tempered. He knew that his father had an affair with a mistress, but he still allowed the mistress to anger his mother to death. How could he watch his mother's murderer enter their house and take away his mother's position? He ran over to make a scene with the two of them, but his biological father accidentally pushed him down the stairs. In the end, it was his sister who saved him. However, because of saving him, his sister was permanently disabled and could not walk normally for the rest of her life. In the past few years, I've been thinking that Ruin's current situation might be retribution for choosing to protect himself. Old Master Jiang's eyes were slightly moist. He and Hu Chenhuan's father were good brothers who had worked hard together and experienced ups and downs together. However, when their family and their son were at their most difficult time, he chose to protect himself. Although he did not kick him when he was down, he did not help him and acquiesced to Hu Qihan's actions. Chapter 509. Now, his granddaughter had become as disabled as Hu Chenhuan. Wasn't this the retribution for his indifference back then? Su Yiyan couldn't help but sigh when she heard his words. So, you want me to see your granddaughter when you see Chenhuan standing up again? Hearing her words, Mr. Jiang subconsciously clenched his hands and said nervously, I heard that Chenhuan's legs were treated by you. It was me. Then, Su Yiyan waited for a long time, but he didn't continue. She subconsciously glanced at her man. Hu Chenhuan sat next to her and took the initiative to explain, it's up to you whether you want to treat him or not. If you want to treat him, then treat him. If you don't want to, then forget it. Su Yiyan was silent for a moment. It doesn't involve interests. It doesn't matter. He would get the Hu Corporation sooner or later. Without Mr. Jiang's support, it would only take a little more time at most. Su Yiyan understood what he meant. Since Hu Chenhuan had taken the initiative to ask him to come over, it was obvious that she wanted to win him over. After a long silence, she relented and said, I can take a look at her, but I can't guarantee that I can cure her. Although she is also paralyzed in the lower body, her condition may not be the same as Chenhuan's. Different patients have different treatment methods. Before that, I need to see her test report first. If necessary, I have to see her. Of course, of course. Hearing that Su Yiyan was willing, Mr. Jiang was overjoyed. He immediately handed his granddaughter's test report to Su Yiyan. After he left the old family Hu mansion, he asked someone to rush home to get the report. If it weren't for the fact that his granddaughter couldn't move, he would have taken her with him and let Su Yiyan have a look. Su Yiyan was stunned when she saw that he was so well prepared. She took the report and read it. Her sacral and coccygeal vertebrae are broken, and her nerves are damaged, resulting in paralysis. Su Yiyan frowned. The broken sacrum and coccygeal vertebrae could be healed, and they would not be paralyzed. In essence, it was because of nerve damage, which was similar to Hu Chenhuan's condition. It could be seen that the Jiang family had indeed tried their best to save sister's son after that incident. Her sacrum and tailbone had recovered well, but because the damaged nerves could not be recovered, she had been paralyzed. Sister Sue, you see. I can give it a try, but I can't guarantee success. Next week, find some time for me to take a look at him. As for how to treat him, we'll discuss it then. Okay. You can contact me whenever you're free next week. For the sake of his granddaughter, old Master Jiang could be considered to be shameless. He even unconsciously addressed Su Yiyan respectfully. After exchanging a few more words, old man Jiang couldn't wait to run home. When he left, there was still a smile of hope on his face. Su Yiyan looked at his back as he left in a hurry and sighed. I've already tried a few times. I'm just trying. Why is he still so happy? When people who have been unable to extricate themselves from adversity suddenly see a life-saving straw, even if they don't know what's behind the straw, they will never let it go easily. It was because they had nothing to lose. Su Yiyan was slightly stunned. She turned to look at Hua Qinhuan and murmured, So, in your opinion, I'm that straw? Yes. Hua Qinhuan's eyes flickered. She said solemnly and affirmatively, You are my life-saving straw. If it weren't for you, I would have fallen into hell. Chapter 5:10. Su Yiyan looked at Hua Qinhuan's determined and serious eyes. She blushed slightly and subconsciously wanted to get closer to him. Hua Qinhuan obviously noticed this as well. His eyes darkened slightly, and he began to quietly move closer to Su Yiyan. Just as the two of them were about to kiss, an explosion suddenly sounded behind them, and the flying ribbons instantly scattered all over their bodies. Yu Zian rushed out from behind the sofa, followed by the two terrified people. Dang, let's celebrate young master's complete recovery. The two of them were speechless. Sigh, how embarrassing. This idiot would probably be killed by young master. You. Hua Qinhuan's face darkened as he glared at the three of them. If looks could kill, they would have been pierced into sieves by now. Before they could finish speaking, Su Yiyan interrupted, You guys are too much. You obviously knew that Qinhuan was good to talk about, but you didn't tell me. You even lied to me with him. How are you going to settle this? The three of them were stunned by Su Yiyan's roar. After a while, they said, Young master wanted to give you a surprise, and we only found out about it recently. They knew how surprised they were when they saw young master suddenly stand up again. They were so surprised that they almost fainted on the spot. No need to explain, I don't want to hear it, Su Yiyan shouted, Yuan, dun, go, catch them. Today, I want to hang them all in the yard to dry. With this order, Dun and Yuan quickly gathered together and rushed in the direction of the three people. Yu Zian was still stunned and didn't know what to do. In the end, Gu Xiaoyang slapped him on the shoulder and said, Why are you still standing there? Run. Oh. Yu Zian seemed to have woken up from a dream. He threw away the firecracker in his hand, turned around, and ran like crazy. A dog and a robot were running back and forth behind the three of them. Behind them was Su Yiyan, who was commanding the battle. The scene was chaotic. Hua Qinhuan didn't know whether to be angry or amused by this scene. Just at this moment, Uncle Zhang suddenly appeared out of nowhere and laughed as he watched the exchange. After young madam came, our house became much livelier than before. There was also a lot of liveliness. Hua Qinhuan's expression warmed as she replied in a low voice, Yes. Uncle Zhang chuckled again. Then, he pulled out a firecracker that looked exactly the same as the one in Yu Zian's hand and pulled it hard. Bang! Young master, congratulations on your recovery. Hua Qinhuan, who was instantly drowned by the colorful ribbons, it wasn't a secret that Su Yiyan accompanied Hua Qinhuan to the 40th anniversary celebration of the Hua Corporation, and many people at the scene recognized them. After the celebration, some people couldn't hold back and posted the photos and videos they took online, inviting people from all walks of life to watch their favorite couple. Many people were dumbfounded by this shot. The man who was sitting in a wheelchair and being ridiculed for being disabled not long ago was now standing up like a normal person and walking as beautifully as a model on the runway. F***CK, President Su's husband's leg injury is cured? Ha 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 ha, let me laugh for a while. Where are the people who mocked President Su for being stubborn even though she married a disabled man and that her husband would never be able to stand up again? Come out and let me see how swollen your face is. Chapter 5:11. She deserves it. President Su already said that her husband's leg was injured and was receiving treatment. He would recover soon. Some people didn't believe her and even gloated over her misfortune. They deserve to be slapped in the face. Sob sob sob, I'm so jealous. Uncle Huo was already handsome enough when he was in a wheelchair. Now that his leg is healed, this gif is so handsome that I can't move my legs. I'm so jealous, sob sob sob, wasn't that right? When Hu Chenhuan was still in a wheelchair, many people thought that he was rich and handsome. However, he was disabled after all. No matter how much they liked his looks, they still had some reservations. Now, this flaw that made them feel regretful was actually gone. Many of the single girls instantly turned into lemon spirits. Under a lot of envious comments, there were naturally some keyboard warriors who couldn't stand Su Yiyan and his wife. Why is it these two people again? Previously, they used their company's artists to create all kinds of hype. Now, they're creating a happy family and doting wife persona. They must be crazy to be famous. That's right. I really don't understand how these two became popular. There are actually people who like them. Do you really think that rich people have true love? What a joke. They're just in a business marriage. Do you know what a business marriage is? Maybe they're just selling their persona to deceive you idiots. When they become famous, they'll directly debut together and create a loving couple persona. Only brainless people like you will believe it. Although these words were jealous of Su Yiyan and his wife, they did directly offend a lot of people. She's the president of an entertainment company and a real rich second-generation sister. You're telling me that she didn't want to be the boss of a company and lowered her status to be a celebrity? Who's the one with a hole in their brain? Your mouth is righteous and your face is smug as if you're the only one who's awake when everyone else is drunk. Aren't you just jealous that she's prettier and more loving than you? Useless ugliness can take a rest. Leave. No matter how bad she is, she's still handsome and rich. You won't be able to catch up with her even if you work hard for 100 years. In fact, it was not difficult to understand why netizens would pay special attention to Su Yiyan and his wife. There was never a lack of people who were interested in the topic of the rich second generation. It was just that the top wealthy families were generally more low-key, and their main activities were basically in the economic field. Most of the news that came out of the entertainment circle was about XX's rich second generation cheating his father again, XX's rich second generation scandals, XX's rich second generation's luxury car crash, and other negative news. For example, Su Yiyan and his wife, who were unexpectedly in the entertainment circle, were unexpectedly good-looking, and were not inferior to the artists under Dongqing City. They were a pleasing couple. Not only did it satisfy the psychological needs of the fans, but it also satisfied everyone's endless curiosity about the marriage of the rich and powerful. How could it not be a hot topic? After dissing these keyboard warriors, the majority of CP fans began to ask for more dog food from the CP fan who posted the video and pictures. This big fan of the couple was also very straightforward. He immediately posted a few more videos of the two of them interacting off stage. The length of the videos generally did not exceed 2 minutes. Finally, they focused on the video of Su Yiyan going up on stage to draw the lottery and said, "If it weren't for the big words that popped up on the screen at the end, I would have suspected that Mr. Su won our special prize, the luxurious Seaview bungalow." Laughing and crying, because of her method, everyone couldn't help but be a little curious about the lottery gift that she mentioned. They clicked on the video and patiently watched until the end, but they didn't know whether to laugh or cry like the person who took the video. Chapter 5:12. The style of rich people is indeed different. She's smiling like a 200-pound child just because of 2 couple cups. I'm jealous again, jealous. Other companies' lucky draw prizes are luxurious houses with a sea view, but our company's lucky draw is a 2-day voucher for a small hotel. You have to appreciate the difference, you have to appreciate it. I'm not convinced by the small houses and luxury cars. I'm worth millions, but I can't even compare to 2 couple cups that are only a few hundred yuan. Is it that embarrassing? I know, I know. I was sitting behind the 2 of them when the incident happened. A staff member came down and asked President Su to go up for the lucky draw. President Su's first reaction was to ask her husband what he wanted. The staff member didn't say anything and just stared at the set of couple cups. President Su understood immediately and wanted to go up for the cup. She didn't expect that she would really get it. How can she not be happy? Shocking scene, please be more detailed. I want to eat dog food. The bitter young lady who had been sitting behind Su Yiyen for 2 hours and had a stomach full of dog food was also happy. She immediately played a short video of Su Yiyen coming down from the stage with the 2 cups and asking for credit from Hu Chenhuan. Ha ha ha, President Su's expression is very similar to me when I was awarded the little red flower in kindergarten and went home to ask for praise from my parents. Ha, stupid mortals, do you think I lack a mansion or a luxury car? No, I lack those 2 couple cups, ha 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 ha. Charming overbearing flower on the outside, soft and cute sweetheart on the inside, sob 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 sob. Today is another day of crying for someone else's beautiful love. I can only imagine President Su's husband's extremely doting smile. I'm dead, I'm dead. The onlookers were agitated by the 2's unrestrained flashes. Some of the devil couple's fans were also fans and naturally hated them. They immediately used some of the clips in the video to create emojis. I'm the best in the world. JPG seeking praise and praise. JPG the landlord's foolish daughter. JPG kind eyes. JPG, if Su Yiyen saw this in person, she would probably be so embarrassed that she wanted to dig a hole and bury herself in it. Unfortunately, she was busy communicating with her husband and did not have the energy to look at what was happening on the internet. On the other hand, Su Yuxuan saw his sister's figure on the computer screen by chance, and his face immediately changed. What is this? The employee, who was browsing the internet to kill time before work, was shocked. This is a very popular video on the internet. It suddenly popped up and I clicked on it by mistake. I'll turn it off right now, right now. Su Yuxuan glanced at the title of the video, frowned slightly, and left without saying anything. The young employee breathed a sigh of relief and felt that his legs were weak. He had escaped a disaster, but at the same time, he was worried that his performance just now had caused the boss to have a problem with him. Would he be punished or fired in the future? Before she could think further, a colleague beside her had already leaned over curiously and looked at the small video on the screen that had not been turned off in time. Isn't this little boss Su? President Su? The employee was stunned. What President Su? Does our company have a little President Su? The girl in the video is President Su's biological sister. She came to our company before, so it's normal that you haven't seen her since you joined the company late. Don't be fooled by President Su's usual behavior, he's actually a standard sister con. When President Su first came to our company, he was so attentive. If I didn't know better, I would have thought that he was taking care of his daughter. Chapter 5:13. Pfft. The employee choked. Aren't they siblings? Why does he have a daughter? Why else would he be called a siscon? Our CEO Su treats CEO little Su like she's his own daughter. As the man spoke, he suddenly saw a handsome man beside CEO little Su. Hey, who's this man? Why does he look so close to President little Su? Her husband. Husband? So President little Su is already married. Then, as if he thought of something, he exclaimed, What? President little Su is married? The employee was shocked. President Little Sue is married. Why are you so surprised? The employee rolled his eyes helplessly. With President Sue's siscon, we all thought that President Little Sue would be at least 30 years old before she got married. Who would have thought that it would be so soon? When President Sue saw it just now, did this man appear on screen? I think he did. Her colleague immediately looked at her sympathetically. He even reached out and patted her shoulder, comforting her. My condolences. The employee. Condolences my ass. He made it sound like she was about to die. What the employee didn't know was that she was about to die. It was just that someone happened to share the danger with her, allowing her to escape by the skin of her teeth. After Su Yuxuan came out of the company, he searched for the public account of the informant according to the title of the video. As soon as he clicked on it, he was showered with a bunch of dog food. Su Yuxuan. I'm so choked. I'm so angry. Burp. After Su Yuxuan read all the news, his first reaction was, so angry. Not only did his baby sister go on stage for the lucky draw for that D*MN man, but she even smiled in surprise because she got a couple's cup. Those who didn't know better would think that their family was poor and couldn't even afford a couple's cup. Don't think that he didn't know the old saying that giving a cup meant a lifetime. This D*MN man was taking advantage of his sister. His second reaction was, F*CK, Hu Qinhuan is back on her feet. That D*MN man's leg has recovered. Su Yuxuan wanted to call his sister to confirm the authenticity of this matter, but before the call went through, he was cut off. His intuition told him that this matter was probably related to his sister. It was better for him to go back and discuss it with his parents. Sure enough, when he returned home, Mr. and Mrs. Su had already heard about it. They were both happy and worried. You heard about it too. It seems like the news has already spread. Can it not be spread? Su Yuxuan's face darkened. Suppressing his anger, he said, anyone would be surprised if a person who has been in a wheelchair for so many years suddenly stood up. When Qing Xiuqin heard his son's words, he frowned slightly and asked in confusion, Yuxuan, why do you look unhappy? Although he knew that his daughter and Hu Qinhuan were in love with each other, Qing Xiuqin's legs had always been a thorn in his heart. Although he didn't say it out loud, he inevitably felt a little regretful in his heart. He felt that it would be great if his legs could recover. Who would have thought that after just a few months, he would actually be able to stand up? It's not that I'm unhappy. I'm also very happy that he can stand up. At least Yan Yan won't be gossiped about anymore. I'm just a little worried that Yan Yan has something to do with his legs recovering. If that's the case, will Yan Yan be in danger? Qing Xiuqin was shocked. Danger? What danger? The doctor said that he was suddenly cured. If this matter really has something to do with Yan Yan, I'm afraid that it will cause trouble. Also. Chapter 5:14. Before Su Yuxuan could finish her sentence, Mr. Su took the initiative to continue. Also, in some people's eyes, Hu Qinhuan's leg isn't good, which means that he's not in danger. But now that his leg has recovered, it's inevitable that some people will be afraid of him. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that Yan Yan is his weakness now. Who knows, some people might be driven to desperate measures. Qing Xiuqin was stunned, but he quickly understood who Mr. Su was talking about. He couldn't help but show some worry on his face. Then what should we do? Call Yan Yan first and ask her to come over with that guy tomorrow. Some things are better said in person. Okay. I'll call her right away. When Qing Xiuqin called Su Yiyan, she had just finished dealing with Yu Zian and the others with Dun Dun and Yuan Yuan. She was in a good mood and cooked a table full of dishes for them to celebrate. Yu Zian and the others had originally planned to leave after making a scene and leave their private space to Su Yiyan and Su Yuxuan. However, Su Yiyan found it difficult to refuse such great hospitality. She felt that it would be more meaningful if everyone gathered together to celebrate such a good thing. Also, They had a certain understanding of Su Yiyen's culinary skills. It would be a pity if they left just like that. In the end, they could only freeload a meal at the old residence under Hu Chenhuan's cold gaze. After eating, they immediately left. As soon as they left, Su Yiyen couldn't help but complain in a low voice, "Don't be so fierce. They're just happy that you're doing well. They didn't mean to disturb us." Hu Chenhuan glanced at her indifferently and exposed her. "You seem to be even fiercer than me just now." Su Yiyen's expression stiffened. Then, she said righteously, "I've already been fierce to them. Why are you still being fierce to them? You can be fierce to yourself, and I'll be fierce to myself. It doesn't affect anything." Su Yiyen. "Okay, you win." Su Yiyen, who was rendered speechless by her man, suddenly remembered what old Master Jiang had said not long ago. Perhaps, someone was indeed a little petty in some aspects. Su Yiyen, who was immersed in her new discovery, did not realize that Hu Chenhuan was standing in front of her. "Yan." Su Yiyen raised her head in confusion and was kissed in the next second. It wasn't that the two of them hadn't kissed before, but most of their kisses were superficial, with a hint of consolation and teasing. Unlike this time, there was clearly a sense of tyranny and plunder in addition to pity, making it impossible for people to resist and even escape. Su Yiyen's mind was in a daze from the kiss, but her heart was thumping wildly. She had a faint premonition that someone was going to be serious this time. Hu Chenhuan purposely whispered into her ear, "Yan. Tonight, you'll be mine, okay?" There was a hint of eagerness in his deep and magnetic voice. Su Yiyen was stunned for a few seconds before she realized what Hu Chenhuan meant. The temperature on her face, which had just dropped, immediately soared back up. Thinking about it carefully, it seemed that they had indeed not consummated their marriage. Could it be that tonight, okay? There was a hint of coquettishness and anticipation in his voice. Su Yiyen could not stand people begging her in a soft voice, especially when this person was Hu Chenhuan. Then, before Su Yiyen could finish speaking, a loud bell suddenly rang, instantly interrupting her unfinished words. "Su Yiyen, Hu Chenhuan. So angry, I really want to hit someone." Chapter 5:15. Su Yiyen looked down at the caller ID on the screen, then looked at Hu Chenhuan's face, which was as black as the bottom of a pot, and said awkwardly, "It's my mom." Not only did Hu Chenhuan's black face not return to normal, but it darkened even more. If it were someone else, he could still take revenge, but his mother-in-law was someone he could not afford to offend, which made him even more aggrieved. Qing Xiuqin did not say much over the phone, only asking Su Yiyen to bring Hu Chenhuan back tomorrow. Su Yiyen guessed that she must have known about Hu Chenhuan's matter, so she did not explain. She only promised to bring Hu Chenhuan back tomorrow, and they would talk about it when the time came. "My mom wants us to go back tomorrow. Because of my matter." "It should be," Su Yiyen said as she stared at Hu Chenhuan without blinking, not saying anything for a long time. Hu Chenhuan felt goosebumps on his back from her stare, and an ominous premonition suddenly arose in his heart. "What's wrong?" "My mom wants us to go back tomorrow." "I know. Didn't you just say that? We have to go back tomorrow, so we can't be too tired tonight." Hu Chenhuan finally understood Su Yiyen's meaning. He raised his eyebrows, but he was not as angry as Su Yiyen expected. "You can't do it tonight, but tomorrow night?" Su Yiyen's expression suddenly froze, and she rolled her eyes in anger out of humiliation. Hu Chenhuan's face suddenly showed an aggrieved expression when she glared at him. "Are you that unwilling?" Of course, it was not that she was unwilling, but she was caught off guard, and her heart could not take it. But when she calmed down and thought about it, they were husband and wife, and it was normal for them to do that kind of thing. Previously, she had wanted to give him a chubby son or a daughter. With that thought, Su Yiyen did not hesitate anymore. She suddenly raised her head and kissed Hu Chenhuan, then ran away with a blushing face. This time, Hu Chenhuan didn't stop her. She just touched the spot where she was kissed and smiled triumphantly. The news that Hu Qinhuan's legs were healed and she could stand up again quickly spread. Other than a few senior executives in the company who had a good relationship with Su Yiyan, Ning Chirui, and the others, old Master Cheng also received the news and called her to ask about it. To celebrate this joyous occasion, Ling Xiaoqi even sent another folder over. Su Yiyan blushed when she saw that. She didn't even dare to sleep with Hu Qinhuan on this last night. She tidied up and ran to the guest room to sleep for the night. The next morning, Su Yiyan woke up early and prepared several exquisite breakfasts. While eating, she also wanted to bring some back for Qing Shuqin and the others. As the saying went, gifts blind the eyes. Since they had eaten her food, they wouldn't make things too difficult for her and Hu Qinhuan. Su Yiyan was dreaming. As soon as Hu Qinhuan went downstairs, she immediately chickened out. Even during breakfast, she didn't dare to make eye contact with Hu Qinhuan. She was afraid that she would recall the scenes that she saw last night that were not suitable for children. Hu Qinhuan saw Su Yiyan's embarrassment. The corners of his lips curled up slightly, and his eyes flashed with a little impatience. He had already waited for so long. A little while more wouldn't make a difference. The atmosphere between the two was so subtle that even Uncle Zhang, who was standing on the side, could see it. However, he was not in a hurry. When his young master was in a wheelchair, the young madam was dead set on him. Now that his young master's legs were healed, the relationship between the two would definitely get better and better in the future. A little quarrel between young couples was a catalyst for their relationship. Maybe he would be able to see his young master and young miss in a while, so he had to prepare in advance. Chapter 5:16. Su Yiyan was unaware of the development of her relationship with Hu Qinhuan. In someone's eyes, they had already skipped the bridal chamber and went straight to having a child. After breakfast, Su Yiyan carried the big box of food and went back to the Su family with Hu Qinhuan. Qing Shuqin and the others were waiting for the two at home. Although they were mentally prepared, they could not help but be surprised when they saw Hu Qinhuan walking steadily behind Su Yiyan. "Dad, Mom, brother, we're back." They seemed to wake up from a dream. Qing Shuqin took the lead to take his daughter's hand and asked, "Have you eaten breakfast?" "Yes, we've eaten before coming over," Su Yiyan said as she handed the big box to Qing Shuqin. "This is for you. There are some snacks that I sent for you to try before. I heard from brother that you liked them, so I brought some more." Qing Shuqin opened the box and took a look. It was indeed the snacks they had eaten before. "Okay, Mom, I'll ask someone to keep it first. We'll have it for afternoon tea later." When Mr. Su heard that Su Yiyan had brought his favorite snacks, he was more or less happy. However, he did not forget the main purpose of asking the two of them to come over today. He turned to look at Hu Qinhuan. "Your leg, it's healed. When did you start the treatment?" "A few months ago." "After you married Yan Yan?" "Yes." As soon as Hu Qinhuan said this, the atmosphere in the room suddenly became subtle. Su Yiyan frowned slightly and quickly interrupted, "Mom, Dad, aren't you happy that Qinhuan's leg is healed?" "We're happy, of course we're happy. If he can recover, as his elders, how can we not be happy?" Qing Shuqin suddenly changed the topic. "You came back just in time. Your aunt just called me last night and said that she had some questions for me to ask you. You also know that pregnant women always have all kinds of discomfort and anxiety. Men won't understand this kind of thing even if you tell them. Come upstairs with me, I'll tell you properly." How could Su Yiyan not understand that Qing Shuqin wanted to send her away and leave Hu Qinhuan alone to face her father and brother? She immediately felt somewhat unhappy. "Mom, you what? She's only been married for a few months and she's already disobeying her mother. Come, follow me upstairs." Su Yiyan couldn't do anything about her. She subconsciously looked at Hu Qinhuan with a worried expression. Hu Qinhuan's eyes flashed. "You go up with Mom. I'll stay here and talk with Dad and brother." But, Before Su Yiyan could finish her words, Hu Chenhuan shook his head at her, indicating that she didn't need to worry and that he could handle it. Seeing that he didn't seem to be unprepared, Su Yiyan reluctantly left with Qing Xiuqin. The two of them didn't hide their little actions. The father and son of the Su family saw it and immediately felt a little jealous. This little heartless girl was guarding against them as if they were thieves. Was she afraid that they would eat up Hu Chenhuan? He didn't know what kind of bewitching potion this stinky brat had fed his sister, to make her so devoted to him. Father Su, who was soaked in jealousy, snorted coldly and took the lead to stand up. Let's talk in the study. Su Yuxuan followed closely behind Father Su. She straightened her clothes, rolled her eyes at Hu Chenhuan, and followed them out. Hu Chenhuan obviously understood that they were jealous of him. Not only was he not angry, but he also felt a little proud of being favored and quickly followed. Chapter 5:17. Su Yiyan followed Qing Xiuqin upstairs, but they did not go directly to the hall or Qing Xiuqin's room. Instead, they returned to Su Yiyan's original room. This room had been empty since Su Yiyan got married, but the furnishings in the room had not changed at all. Someone cleaned it every day, so it was exactly the same as before. Su Yiyan walked around the room. When she turned around, she met Qing Xiuqin's extremely complicated gaze. Mom, what's wrong? Didn't Auntie have something to ask me just now? What is it? Qing Xiuqin did not say anything. He still stared at Su Yiyan quietly. Su Yiyan felt goosebumps on her back. She coughed lightly and took the lead to break the silence. Mom, if you have something to say, just say it. There's no one else here. Actually, Auntie has nothing to ask me, right? Tell Mom honestly. Did Chenhuan's leg recover so quickly have anything to do with you? Were you the one who treated him? Su Yiyan opened her mouth. She wanted to explain, but when she met Qing Xiuqin's gaze, all the words she wanted to say were reduced to one word. Yes. Qing Xiuqin took a deep breath. Her expression was a little ugly. She paced back and forth in the room twice before asking, I'll ask you another question. You have to tell Mom honestly. Su Yiyan's heart suddenly skipped a beat. She said weakly. Please ask. Are you and Hu Chenhuan really together because you like each other? Do you have some kind of agreement? What? What agreement? Su Yiyan blinked and looked confused. Something like an agreement where you two get married, he helps you vent your anger, and you help him treat his illness. Su Yiyan did not expect her mother's imagination to be so wild. She even imagined a prenuptial agreement. While she breathed a sigh of relief, she did not know whether to laugh or cry. Mom, what are you thinking about? How could the two of us have such a thing? You really didn't? Qing Xiuqin looked at Su Yiyan in disbelief. At that time, Su Yiyan had suddenly changed her mind and wanted to marry Hu Chenhuan. Moreover, the two of them had long been in love with each other and would not marry anyone but him. Although the family could not dissuade her, they still had doubts in their hearts. They were afraid that the two of them were just impulsive. In the future, when they calmed down and stopped being impulsive, it would be easy for them to become resentful couples. Until yesterday, when he suddenly learned that Hu Chenhuan's leg had been healed, Qing Xiuqin was indeed happy at first. Later, when he heard what his husband and son said, he couldn't help but feel a little worried. With this worry, she inevitably began to let her imagination run wild again. She even dug up the previous matter. She felt that the two of them might have made some kind of deal before they got married, and Hu Chenhuan's leg could be healed as one of the terms of this deal. Of course not, Mama Ing. What are you thinking? Am I the kind of person who would joke about my lifelong happiness? If I really wanted to make a deal with him, there were many ways to do it. Why would I choose the method that was the most disadvantageous to me? In order to teach the scumbag a lesson and vent my anger for myself, I sacrificed my lifelong happiness. Mom, do you think I'm such a stupid person? Qing Xiuqin was speechless by his daughter's words. He also realized that his imagination was indeed too presumptuous. Immediately, he felt a little embarrassed and complained, "You were too unreliable at that time. You wanted to break off the engagement, but unexpectedly, you arranged another marriage for yourself. In addition, Hu Qihan's family was too infuriating at that time. I was afraid that you got married on a whim. After all, I've never heard you talk about him before." Chapter 518. Su Yiyan never thought that her mother would actually think this way, even though she said that she believed her. However, on second thought, if it were her, if the person she was extremely close to suddenly changed her personality one day and said that she wanted to marry someone she had never heard of before, she was afraid that there would be a question mark in her heart. Yes. This is indeed my fault. I didn't tell you in advance and gave you such a big shock. However, I really didn't lie to you about the fact that we like each other. I have always been cautious about matters of the heart. I won't joke about it easily. Moreover, when Chenhuan and I got married, you should have seen the betrothal gifts that Chenhuan gave. If we were really just in a contract marriage, how could he take out all his assets without reservation? He's not stupid. Cheng Xiuqin was stunned. After thinking about it carefully, it made sense. Forget it. Chenhuan's leg is already healed. You two live well in the future. I won't worry about it anymore. Okay. Cheng Xiuqin smiled and pinched her daughter's little face. Then, she seemed to have thought of something and frowned. By the way, after you two get married, who is in charge of the family's money? Su Yiyan was stunned. Although she didn't quite understand why she asked this, she still answered truthfully. Now, most of it is under my name. Other than some basic funds for the operation of the company, most of it has been invested. The profits have been quite good recently. It's good that you're in charge. However, you'd better be careful. Now that Chenhuan's leg is healed, he will have to go out and socialize in the future. It's not that I don't believe in your relationship, but the family itself needs to be managed well. Marriage doesn't mean that everything will be fine. Su Yiyan's mouth twitched slightly. Mom, are you worried that Chenhuan will cheat on me after he recovers? Cheng Xiuqin glared at her. I didn't say that. I just want you to be careful. Relationships need to be managed, and so does family. Don't take it too seriously. Otherwise, if you come back crying to us in the future, we won't care about you. Su Yiyan laughed. Even if you don't care about me, don't you still have my brother? If he dares to let me down, my brother will be the first to not let him off. You. Just because your brother dotes on you. Su Yiyan held her hand and laughed. After laughing, she couldn't help but turn to look at her and ask in a low voice, Mom, other than this, do you have anything else to ask me? The smile on Cheng Xiuqin's face also faded a little. She looked at her little daughter, who had never made her worry since she was a child. After a long time, he let out a long sigh. Yes, but I won't ask. This answer was beyond Su Yiyan's expectations. Why? Actually, ever since you were pushed down by that bastard Hu Xiaofeng and that little B***tch and sent to the hospital, I felt that you seemed to have changed. You became different. It didn't matter if it was his thoughts or his personality. It's not that you've changed a lot all of a sudden. It's just that, you seem to have matured a lot all of a sudden. You're starting to have your own little secrets. Mom, Cheng Xiuqin held her hand and said with a smile, at that time, your father and I both thought that you grew up all of a sudden because of Hu Xiaofeng's incident. At first, we were also very worried that you might have been holding it in. If you continued to hold it in, would you get sick? Su Yiyan was touched and helpless. I really don't have any feelings for Hu Xiaofeng. Breaking off the engagement with him really didn't affect me much. Chapter 519. Even if you don't have feelings for him, it's a fact that what he did hurt you. From the beginning to the end, they were not angry at Hu Xiaofeng for falling in love with someone else, but at his self-righteousness. From the beginning, he never put the Su family and Su Yiyan on the same level as him. Even when he broke off the engagement, he was condescending and aggressive. Originally, even if it was the man's fault for breaking off an engagement, the woman would definitely be hurt to a certain extent. Otherwise, no one would say something like, "It's because you're not good enough to keep the man. You deserve to be abandoned." Hu Xiaofeng's actions at that time practically threw their family, especially Su Yiyan's face to the ground and trampled on it. Qing Xiuqin did not find it strange that Su Yiyan was provoked because of this. Later, when we saw you fiddling with some strange things, we also felt that you were unhappy and wanted to find something interesting to divert your attention. Until your aunt came over. When Su Yiyan heard this, her hands subconsciously tightened. The medicinal cuisines she made at the beginning were more toward diseases, and they were all given to the audience in the live broadcast room in a lucky draw after they were done. Even when she made some for her family later on, her family basically did not have any major problems. Most of the food she made was mainly for maintenance. The most obvious one was to nourish her uncle and aunt's health and let them have a child. Then why didn't you ask me at that time? I wanted to ask, but I was stopped by your grandfather. Grandfather? Su Yiyan was a little surprised. Your grandfather saw through your father's and my thoughts and deliberately talked to us. He told us that it's normal for children to have secrets when they're old. Since you don't know, you must have your own difficulties. As elders, the only thing we can do for you is to pretend that we don't know anything. We don't want to make things difficult for you. As long as you're well, it's fine. Mom. Su Yiyan's eyes stung. She could not help but reach out and hug Qing Xiuqin's waist. I didn't mean to hide it from you, it's just that I don't know how to tell you. I'm also afraid that you'll be sad and worried if I do. I know. Later on, I also understood that you must have your reasons. I only hope that you can live a good and peaceful life with Qinhuan happily. In the future, when you give birth to a son or a daughter, your family will be lively and happy. It's better than anything else. Yes. Qing Xiuqin patted her daughter's head lovingly and sighed. Your father asked you to come over today because he was curious about Qinhuan's leg. On the other hand, he was worried that if his leg recovered, those people who hit him when he was down and felt threatened by his recovery would do something to hurt you out of desperation. When you go back, you should also tell Qinhuan to be more careful recently. Those people with no ability and heart are used to playing dirty tricks. You can't be careless. Su Yiyan could tell who she was referring to. She hurriedly nodded, and a cold light flashed in her eyes. Before this, she had not seriously done anything to Wen Jingping and the others. First, she was full of thinking about how to cure Hu Qinhuan. She did not have the energy to deal with them. They did not provoke her. As long as they did not go too far, she was too lazy to deal with them. Second, she was also afraid of the so-called protagonist's halo. If she did not kill them, she might be unlucky. If she killed them, the world would collapse. Chapter 520. No matter which one it was, it would be a strenuous and unrewarding task. He could only steal Wen Jingping's golden finger bit by bit to prevent her from playing any tricks. Now that Hu Qinhuan's leg was healed, and he had stolen nearly half of Wen Jingping's female lead halo, it was time to think about how to deal with the two of them. Su Yiyan was already secretly thinking about how to make trouble for Wen Jingping and Hu Xiaofeng. On the other hand, Hu Qinhuan was under double pressure from her father-in-law and brother-in-law. We're all family, so let's not beat around the bush. Yan cured your leg, right? Hu Qinhuan's eyes flashed. She didn't plan to hide it from the two of them. Yes. Who else knows about this? Other than a few of my trusted aides, only one of my uncles knows about it. However, Yan has helped a few people before. If word gets out, even if we don't say anything, they should be able to guess. Su Yuxuan and his father thought that Su Yiyan had only cured Hu Qinhuan. They didn't expect that there were others. Judging from his tone, there seemed to be a lot of them. So many people, Hu Chenhuan knew what they were worried about. We can't hide this. Yan Yan doesn't plan to hide it. Grandpa knows about it too. Su Yuxuan's face darkened. Grandpa. A professor from a university found Yan Yan through the research institute, hoping that she could use her abilities to benefit the public. Yan Yan agreed. Now, he occasionally goes over to teach them on the weekends. Although the students and teachers have all signed confidentiality agreements, if this goes on, it will definitely leak out. When the father and son heard what he said, their expressions were a little complicated. Since the professor had found Yan Yan through the research institute, Grandpa Cheng must have talked to him and knew about it. The fact that Grandpa Shen allowed her to look for Yan Yan meant that he had acquiesced to her decision. In the end, she chose the most difficult path. Mr. Su's expression was a little ugly. He said worriedly and gloomily, "This child." Seeing this, Hu Chenhuan comforted her father. "Dad, if you're worried that Yan Yan's medical skills will cause trouble for her, you don't have to worry. I can protect her." What arrogance! Before Mr. Su could say anything, Su Yuxuan interrupted, "A man's wealth is his own ruin. No matter how powerful a man is, he's still afraid of death, illness, and accidents. Yan Yan, are you sure you'll be able to protect her if she encounters some unreasonable and ruthless characters? How are you going to protect her?" "Brother, you don't have to worry about that. On the surface, I've basically transferred all the assets under Yan Yan's name, but some of the assets that don't suit her are still in my hands." Mr. Su subconsciously looked at Su Yuxuan when he heard this. He looked surprised. "What do you mean?" "My father did give the Hu Corporation to Hu Qihan back then, but my mother left everything she had to me. It was Hu Qihan's fault for being too greedy. He only had eyes for the Hu Corporation, thinking that it was the biggest piece of meat. Little did he know that Mrs. Hu's family background back then was not inferior to her husband's at all. This was also the reason why he was able to quickly establish Fantasy Club in a few years and spread its branches to many fields even though he was only assigned to the family Hu mansion. My uncle has been managing the inheritance my mother left me all these years." "Then your uncle, he's abroad." Hu Chenhuan met the father and son's inquisitive gazes. "He's under." Chapter 521. When Su Yiyen came downstairs, Hu Chenhuan and Su Yuxuan had just come out of the study. Su Yiyen immediately rushed over when he saw him and asked softly, "Are you okay?" "What can happen to me?" "Dad and brother were just concerned about my recovery and wanted to ask me a few questions." "Father and brother Su. Who cares about you?" "Shameless, humph." Su Yiyen was not so easily fooled. He looked at them suspiciously. "Really?" Su Yuxuan and his son received the suspicious gaze from their sister, daughter. Their hearts felt as if they had been soaked in vinegar for more than 10 years, and it was extremely sour. Their baby did not even believe them in order to protect this dog of a man. She even looked at them suspiciously. Aya, their hearts hurt so much. Cheng Xiuqin saw through the father and sons acting at a glance. He rolled his eyes helplessly. All right. Your dad and the rest are just curious about how he recovered so quickly. He's not a scourge or a beast. Would he eat Chenhuan?" Su Yiyen touched his nose awkwardly and smiled apologetically. Cheng Xiuqin saw this and decisively turned to the father and son. "It's rare for Yan Yan and Chenhuan to come back. Even if you're curious, you'd better control yourself. If you scare them away, I'll teach you a lesson later." The father and son of the Su family. What happened to the promise of advancing and retreating together? In the end, you still betrayed them. However, they could not say anything. People at the bottom of the food chain really could not be hurt. Sob after the family had a peaceful lunch, everyone made a video call to Cheng Juanhao. In the video call, Cheng Shuaru's belly was already quite big, and her face had also gained some weight. "Yan Yan? You're home." "Yes, Chenhuan and I are back." When Qin Shuaru heard her mention Hua Chenhuan, the corners of her lips curled up slightly. She smiled faintly and said, I've heard about Chenhuan from Jun Hao. Congratulations. Su Yiyen chuckled, his face full of joy. Seeing this, the people present looked at each other and laughed. Aunt, how have you been recently? Is the baby okay? After Qin Shuaru returned to the Qing family, the two would video call once every half a month. Su Yiyen would meet with the other party and adjust her daily diet based on the specific prenatal checkup report. Everything is good. The baby has been moving more frequently recently. Your uncle said that the baby is so naughty, it's most likely a boy. That's not for sure. Qin Shuaru had just finished speaking when Qing Shuqin impatiently interrupted. When Yan Yan was in my stomach previously, she was much more noisy than Yushuan. His father and I thought it was another chubby boy. We didn't expect it to be a baby girl. It was Su Yayan's first time hearing Qing Shuqin talk about this, and she was surprised. Really? Why don't I? Qing Shuqin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You weren't even born at that time. How could you have any impression? But speaking of this, it's indeed quite magical. When your brother was in my belly, he was very obedient and didn't move much. Your father and I were worried that there was something wrong with the baby. We did a lot of tests and all said that the baby was very healthy. We thought it was a quiet baby girl. In the end, we didn't expect that the baby would be a monkey spirit. He was so naughty that your father chased after him every day to hit him. You, on the other hand, were very noisy during pregnancy. But when you were born, you didn't cry or make a fuss. It was very easy to raise. Qing Shuqin glanced at his eldest son with disdain as he spoke. Clearly, he was reminded of the fear of being dominated by a naughty child more than 20 years ago. Chapter 522. Su Yushuan, who had been enjoying the show, was suddenly made the scapegoat. You guys can talk about your own things. Why are you dragging me into this? Why was she always the one getting hurt? Compared to Su Yushuan's grief and indignation, Hua Chenhuan was more interested in Su Yiyen's childhood. She even took the initiative to ask, Mom, do you have any photos or videos of Yan Yan when she was young? Qing Shuqin replied without hesitation, yes, quite a lot. Yan Yan was very obedient when she was young. She did whatever she was told. Her father took many videos and photos of her in little dresses. If you're interested, I'll send you a copy later. Hua Chenhuan's eyes lit up. Thank you, Mom. Su Yiyen blushed and mumbled, I was very tan when I was young. I was quite ugly. I didn't look good at all. That's because you insisted on going fishing with your grandfather. How could you not get tanned in the summer? Old Master Cheng liked fishing and liked to invite his friends to fish. Most of the old master's friends were fishing friends of his. Su Yiyen had stayed with the Cheng family for a period of time when she was young and often went fishing with the old master. In the hottest days of the summer, even with umbrellas and sunscreen lotion, a child's tender skin would still darken after a month or two. Su Yiyen had looked through the family photos before and had a deep impression of those photos. She looked like a black coal ball. Hua Chenhuan didn't give up after hearing her words. Instead, she became even more curious and said excitedly, Yan Yan looks good no matter what. Even if you're tan, you look good too. Su Yiyen. Now that she was said that, she felt a little embarrassed. Everyone. Sweet words and honeyed words. We won't eat this dog food. Auntie, take care of yourself first. In a month, Su Yiyen wanted to say, I'll take Chenhuan to your place. But then she remembered that Hua Chenhuan's leg had just recovered. She might be very busy in the following days and wouldn't have time to accompany her. Hua Chenhuan could tell at a glance that she was at a loss. She smiled faintly and said, now that my leg is healed, I was just thinking of going out for a walk. It just so happens that our honeymoon hasn't ended yet. Su Yiyen's eyes lit up. That's right. Although they were married, they hadn't had their honeymoon yet. Then in another month, Chenhuan and I will go over to look for you. At that time, you and uncle must not dislike us for freeloading. Qin Shueru was almost 8 months pregnant. In another month, it would be almost the due date. She and Hu Chenhuan could go over to watch the birth of the child. At the same time, they could stay for another month to help her with her confinement. A month later, Fan Weiming and his wife's treatment was almost complete. Both Ning Chirue and his brother were in the recovery period, so she only needed to send the medicinal cuisine to them every day. Luo Weibing's sister was the same. She needed to stabilize and recuperate for a while before she could carry out follow-up treatment. For the time being, there was no hurry. Not to mention the company. Xia Junsheng was in charge of Dongcheng. Li Jingguan and the others in the medicinal cuisine restaurant could also take charge of it. Usually, she only contacted them remotely and didn't go to the restaurant much. Not to mention that there were a few old professors who went to their restaurant every day under the pretext of eating medicinal cuisine to nourish their bodies. In fact, they just wanted to see more of the medicinal herbs in their restaurant. With their protection, as long as the employees didn't make trouble themselves, there shouldn't be any big problems. As for Uncle Jiang yesterday, she didn't know if he could help. Even if he could, she would let them find him by themselves or simply postpone the treatment and wait for her to come back. Chapter 523. She had to have the attitude of asking for help. She did not owe them anything. Compared to them, her aunt and future cousins were definitely more important. Su Yiyen had already calculated in her heart and was not afraid at all. When Qin Shueru heard that she was coming, she could not hide the smile on her face. I'm more than happy that you guys can come. Why would I dislike it? Then it's settled. After successfully setting the time, Su Yiyen reminded Qin Shueru of some things to pay attention to. Noticing that she was a little tired, she hung up the call first. After that, the two of them stayed at the Su residence for a while. They politely declined Qing Shuqin's invitation to stay for dinner and left the Su residence before dinner. The two of them had just gotten into the car when Hu Chenhuan asked first, Mom and Dad were both here just now. I'm embarrassed to ask. What did Mom say to you when she brought you upstairs? Did she make things difficult for you? What can Mom make things difficult for me? She's worried about me. Hu Chenhuan raised an eyebrow. Worried? Yes, worried that I'll be abandoned by you. Hu Chenhuan's face darkened. Without thinking, he said, I won't abandon you. Su Yiyen rolled her eyes and deliberately teased him. That's hard to say. My mom said that it's easy for a man to turn bad when he's rich. You're rich to begin with, but you were like that before. Now that things are good, who knows what kind of crazy bees and butterflies will come to seduce you. Su Yiyen wanted to tease him at first, but toward the end, she was really jealous. Don't tell me that it's not possible. Back then, the young master of the family Huo was famous for being a rich husband. Many girls took the initiative to throw themselves at him. Didn't a niece who almost became your fiancée popped up a few days ago? Hu Chenhuan listened to Su Yiyen's sour questioning. Looking at her small mouth that could be hung with a bottle of vinegar, she hurriedly swore, no matter how many girls come to me, I will never take a fancy to them. You are the only one in my heart. Of course, Su Yiyen knew this. But when he thought that there might be women who would take the initiative to stick to Hu Chenhuan, he felt a little jealous. The smile in Hu Chenhuan's eyes deepened when he saw her like this. He patiently coaxed her, you just said that the women who come to me at this time are basically here for my money and my identity. Even if they have a little bit of affection for me, they must have a motive. It's not pure. Do you think I'm that stupid to give up on someone who truly loves me for those hypocritical feelings? Su Yiyen's face became a little better, but she was a little disappointed. If her mother hadn't reminded her, she wouldn't have thought that Hu Chenhuan's good attitude not only meant that he would re-enter the eyes of the big families and pose a threat to many people, but also meant that his identity, his status, and the hidden money behind him would attract a lot of covetous eyes. Hu Chenhuan seemed to know what she was thinking. He slightly raised the corners of his mouth and said, "Have you forgotten that all the industries under my name are now in your hands? If those people know about this, do you think they will still come to me?" Su Yiyan was slightly startled. She felt a little proud in her heart, but she still said, "Although they are in my hands, the people who manage these industries are your people. If you want to secretly transfer the assets, it's not impossible." Hu Chenhuan couldn't help laughing. His little wife had watched so many rich and powerful family dramas that she even thought of transferring assets. "Do you mean that you want to replace Yan Bai and the others and let your people manage these industries?" Chapter 524. Su Yiyan was silent for a moment and shook her head. "They are professionals. If it were other companies, they might not be able to operate well. Moreover, these things were originally yours. If you want to take them back, I have nothing to say. In the end, these things did not change. What changed was the human heart. When a person loved you, they wanted to give you all the good things. These things were the sweetness of love to you, and it was the proof that they cared about you. But if they really didn't love you, no matter how hard you tried to keep them, the other party had countless ways to take them back from you. So, listen carefully. If you dare to betray me in the future, I don't want you anymore." Hu Chenhuan's eyes flashed slightly. He pressed against Su Yiyan's forehead and looked straight into her eyes. He said word by word, "I won't give you the chance." Su Yiyan smiled and took the initiative to change the topic. "I told you what my mother told me. Shouldn't you tell me what my father and brother told you? They are also worried about you." "Worried about me?" Su Yiyan was stunned. She felt that what they were worried about might be different from what her mother was worried about. "Worried about me? They guessed that you cured my leg. They were worried that this matter would be too eye-catching and cause you trouble." Su Yiyan was silent for a while. She asked Li Xi in a low voice, "Am I too willful?" She knew that some things would cause trouble, but she still couldn't bear to pretend that she didn't see it. In the end, her family still had to help and protect her. Hu Chenhuan couldn't bear to see her so disappointed. He reached out to touch her head and sighed. "Have you forgotten what I told you before? As long as it's something you want to do, do it. I'm here." It wasn't that he hadn't thought of hiding Su Yiyan. In fact, this idea had appeared more than once. But no matter how much time had passed, the person in front of him was his nemesis. He would be jealous and resentful, but he always couldn't bear to hurt her or do anything to make her unhappy. Su Yiyan was like a little sun in his eyes. She warmed him and also warmed those who had nowhere to go. He didn't want to share this warmth with anyone, but he was afraid that if he tried to stop it, it would cause this little sun to lose its warmth. Therefore, the only thing he could do was to let this little sun shine without any worries and not let anyone hurt her. In order to do this better, he was so eager to stand up when he found that he could still feel his legs. "Yan Yan, I will protect you. You don't have to worry about anything else." Su Yiyan's eyes flickered slightly. In a trance, she thought of the man in her previous life who was willing to go against the whole world for her. "Yes, I believe you." By the time they got home, it was already dark. After dinner, Hu Chenhuan couldn't wait to bring Su Yiyan upstairs. Only then did Su Yiyan realize what kind of trap she had dug for herself last night. Looking at a certain someone whose eyes were so bright that they almost burned her, Su Yiyan's mouth twitched slightly. She took a deep breath and said, take a shower first." Hu Chenhuan's eyes deepened. "Together? Su Yiyan. If they did, would she still be alive?" I'll go first." Su Yiyan didn't dare to look Hu Chenhuan in the eye. She picked up her clothes and rushed into the bathroom. Hu Chenhuan didn't stop her. Looking at her back as she left in a hurry, his eyes flashed with a determined light. Chapter 525. After Su Yiyen rushed into the bathroom, her face was so red that it could drip blood. The rising hot water spread in the room and covered the mirror at the side. Su Yiyen looked at her red face in the mirror and thought about what was going to happen next. Her heart couldn't stop thumping. Isn't it just a wedding night? We are legally married. Why are you panicking? Can't you be more mature? Su Yiyen glared at herself in the mirror. Then, she took a shower as fast as she could and hid under the covers before Hu Qinhuan came near. Hu Qinhuan glanced at Su Yiyen, who was hiding under the covers like a small bump, and the smile in his eyes deepened. When she heard the bathroom door close again, Su Yiyen poked her head out from under the covers and reached out to touch her phone. She opened the private collection that Ling Xiaoqi had sent her and decided to make a last-minute effort. However, Su Yiyen misjudged Hu Qinhuan's shower time and even misjudged how anxious he was about this. Just as she was nervously watching the short video with complicated feelings, the bathroom door opened with a click. Su Yiyen was shocked and instinctively wanted to turn off the short video. Unfortunately, she wasn't as lucky as before this time. In a fluster, the phone slipped out of her hand and slid to Hu Qinhuan's feet. Hu Qinhuan. Su Yiyen. Hu Qinhuan was stunned for a moment and leaned over to pick up the phone. Su Yiyen was so scared that her face changed shape and she screamed, "Don't move." But she was still a step too late. Hu Qinhuan glanced at the silent short video that was still playing on the screen. When he raised his head again, he looked at Su Yiyen with a complicated and meaningful gaze. Su Yiyen felt her scalp tingle under his gaze and said in a trembling voice, "Let me explain." "Okay, you explain." "I'm a little nervous." Hu Qinhuan's eyes flickered. "So, you watch these little videos to relieve your tension?" Su Yiyen lowered her head slightly, wishing she could dig a hole and bury herself in it. Hu Qinhuan's laughter rang in her ears. Su Yiyen's face suddenly turned red. She raised her head to glare at Hu Qinhuan angrily. Before she could finish her words, her lips were kissed, and a certain figure pressed down on her. "I'm sorry." Hu Qinhuan's voice was low and magnetic, just like in the past, but with a sexiness that had never been there before. "You don't need to learn this kind of thing. Just leave it to me." Su Yiyen didn't have time to ponder over his words before the quilt was flipped over and covered the two of them. The late wedding night was more special and ambiguous than any other night, making people blush. The next morning, Su Yiyen woke up in a trance. Before she was completely awake, a cool kiss fell on her forehead. Morning. Su Yiyen opened her eyes wide and subconsciously glanced at the quilt. Sure enough, the two of them did everything. Nothing. Where? Recalling what happened last night, Su Yiyen's face turned red. She subconsciously hid under the quilt and whispered, "Morning." Hu Qinhuan saw that she was shy, so he reached out and hugged her tighter. "Yan Yan. WH. What? You finally belong to me completely." Su Yiyen's face turned red. She wished she could hide under the quilt and never come out. But soon she thought of another thing. She poked her head out of the quilt and stared at Hu Qinhuan with burning eyes. Chapter 526. Hu Qinhuan was inexplicably flustered by her stare. He asked in a low voice, "What's wrong? Last night, was it really your first time?" Hu Qinhuan frowned. He didn't understand why she asked this question. Could it be that she thought his technique wasn't good enough? "It was my first time." "Then why are you so skilled?" Hu Qinhuan was stunned. He couldn't help but laugh. "Can I take it that you're praising me?" Su Yiyen blushed and glared at him. "Don't change the topic." Hu Qinhuan laughed. "I was still underage when the accident happened." The implication was that she couldn't do it when she was underage. She had no chance to do it when she was an adult. Of course, it was her first time. "Then you can watch videos. Can't I read books?" "Read books?" Su Yiyen's eyes widened. She obviously didn't expect this answer. Yes. Su Yiyen frowned. Where did you get the books? Who recommended them to you? A small yellow book. Who was it? Who was the one who led my husband astray? The three people who were worried sick for their young master, Ah Chu. Hu Chenhuan didn't answer her question. Instead, he asked, then who gave you the videos? Su Yiyen choked. I asked first. Xian, Xiaoyang, and Yanbai. Hu Chenhuan decisively betrayed his trusted subordinates. Then, he gestured to Su Yiyen. It's your turn to speak now. Su Yiyen's eyes darted around. She didn't dare to look at Hu Chenhuan. Hu Chenhuan saw her like this and guessed. Ling Xiaoqi. Su Yiyen trembled. She still didn't speak. Hu Chenhuan already had an answer. A dark light flashed in his eyes. Su Yiyen felt guilty for a while, but she suddenly regained her confidence. You read the book, and I watched the video. We're even now. It's not even, Hu Chenhuan said without hesitation. You're not allowed to look at it anymore. Su Yiyen glared at him. Why? Words aren't as direct as videos. Haven't you seen enough of me? You still want to look at other men? In the end, porn was just text. It didn't have the visual effect of a short video. The reason he read pornographic novels was to increase his knowledge in this area, but he had never looked at other women's bodies. Su Yiyen was different. At the thought of this, Hu Chenhuan wished she could burn the men and women in the video to ashes. Su Yiyen knew that he was in the wrong, so his momentum immediately weakened. Fine. Is that all? Then what do you want? Su Yiyen glared at him again. This guy was getting more and more insatiable. I want compensation. What? Su Yiyen had just finished speaking when she was kissed again. Then, the two people under the big quilt could be seen struggling. Occasionally, Su Yiyen's voice of protest could be heard. No, get up quickly. I still have class in the afternoon. Hu Chenhuan, you bastard. Fortunately, Hu Chenhuan still had a little conscience. He knew that Su Yiyen still had class in the afternoon. In the end, he didn't go all the way and let her go. Su Yiyen escaped with difficulty. Looking at the obvious red marks on her neck in the mirror, she angrily gritted her teeth. This beast, she told him not to leave marks on such an obvious place, but he just didn't listen. Now, she still had class in the afternoon. If it was seen by others, Su Yiyen, who was ashamed and angry, looked depressed. She secretly wondered if it was because she had been making medicinal meals for a certain someone recently. She had given him too much nourishment, so he didn't know how to control himself. Should she make something else to calm him down? Chapter 527. At that time, Hu Chenhuan still didn't know that his wife was like a rabbit grinding its teeth when provoked. Her thoughts were quite dangerous. Even though he was sitting expressionlessly downstairs, a mysterious and unfathomable aura still lingered around him. When Yu Zian arrived, he saw this scene. His eyelids twitched, and he moved like a crab to Uncle Zhang's side. Young master, what's wrong today? Uncle Zhang had a kind smile on his face. He clearly saw through the situation and said, young master's health has improved, so his mood naturally improved as well. Yu Zian nodded, not fully understanding. He had a feeling that things weren't as simple as Uncle Zhang said, but he couldn't figure out what was wrong. Until he saw Su Yiyen coming down from upstairs. As soon as Su Yiyen saw Yu Zian, she remembered what Hu Chenhuan said last night, and her face darkened. It was this guy who found those dirty words for Hu Chenhuan and caused her to suffer last night. Hu Chenhuan was the mastermind, and he was also an accomplice. Yu Zian's heart trembled when Su Yiyen glared at him. He didn't understand what he had done wrong to provoke this good-tempered young madam. Su Yiyen didn't explain. She sat at the table furthest away from Hu Chenhuan. Hu Chenhuan's eyes flashed when he saw this. He stood up and sat next to Su Yiyan. In reality, he was shamelessly sticking to her. If the mountain doesn't come to me, I'll go to the mountain. Su Yiyan frowned when she saw him coming over. She stood up and walked to the other side of the table. Hu Chenhuan didn't get angry and continued to chase after her. As a result, Yu Zian and Uncle Zhang, who were silently watching from the side, were lucky enough to witness a chase at the table. Su Yiyan ran for about 5 minutes before he finally couldn't take it anymore. He slammed the table, pointed at the seat opposite him, and shouted, "You, go over there. Don't come over." Hu Chenhuan looked aggrieved as he stared at his wife with puppy eyes. Su Yiyan was unmoved. He pointed at the opposite side with a cold face, not allowing any refusal. When Hu Chenhuan saw that there was no room for negotiation, she regretfully got up and moved to the opposite side. However, she chose the shortest distance to Su Yiyan. Picking up his bowl and chopsticks, he glanced at Su Yiyan every time he ate a mouthful of rice, and glanced at Su Yiyan every time he ate a mouthful of vegetables. It was obvious that he was treating her as a side dish, which really verified the phrase, "a feast for the eyes." Su Yiyan, who felt goosebumps all over, was speechless. This shameless fellow, how infuriating. Yu Zian and Uncle Zhang, who had witnessed the couple's childish quarrel, were speechless. A few seconds later, Yu Zian finally realized what was going on and turned to look at Uncle Zhang. He asked with a questioning gaze, "Young master and young madam, are they fighting?" Uncle Zhang narrowed his eyes and raised an unfathomable smile. "Even if they are fighting, it's still fun. You don't understand the romance between couples." Yu Zian, who felt like a knife had been stabbed in the heart for no reason, was speechless. This world really isn't friendly to single people. After eating the long overdue breakfast and lunch, Su Yiyan left the house in a slightly depressed mood. Before she left, she glared fiercely at Hu Chenhuan and Yu Zian. Yu Zian, who had been implicated twice in a row, was confused. He couldn't help but ask Hu Chenhuan, "Young master, young madam." Hu Chenhuan didn't listen to him at all. He only looked at his wife's back as she angrily left. He rubbed his chin and muttered, "I went a little too far the first time. It's better to restrain yourself in the future. However, you can't blame me for this." Who asked his wife to be so attractive? Yu Zian, who had been fed dog food in the face, was speechless. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 528. After Su Yiyan came out of the house, her anger finally subsided a little. She reached out to pull at the thin turtleneck sweater around her neck, revealing the obvious mark. Her heart immediately flared up again. She was already feeling hot. Even wearing a thin sweater made her flustered. There would be so many people in class later. Who knew how hot it would be? At the thought of this, Su Yiyan wished she could break a certain someone's third leg that had just recovered. Hu Chenhuan, who was regretting that she didn't have enough time in the morning, suddenly shivered. She suddenly felt that a certain part of her body was a little cold. Su Yiyan was thinking about the dangers of children when her phone suddenly received a message. She looked down and saw that it was from Ling Xiaoqi. "Ling, what's the meaning of this?" "Ling, picture." Su Yiyan clicked on the picture and saw that it was indeed her mail account. As for the content, "My Yan Yan is still a baby. Don't send those weird things to him in the future. Thank you for your cooperation. Su Yiyan." "What baby? You're the baby. Your whole family is a baby." No, his whole family seemed to be her. Su Yiyan's mouth twitched. She was about to say something when she suddenly thought of something else. "Yan, wait, how did you get my husband's account? You guys are actually in contact in private?" "Ling. Get lost. He just added me this morning. Wasn't it you who gave him the account?" Su Yiyan. "It wasn't, but she seemed to have guessed what was going on. Su Yiyen thought for a while and pulled up the file from before. Sure enough, it was empty. There was nothing in it. This jealous lover really acted quickly. He didn't like her watching these videos last night, and now he had deleted them all. Su Yiyen was angry and amused at the same time. Then, she saw Ling Xiaoqi send another message. Ling, no, that's not the point. The point is, what does this mean? Did your man catch you watching the videos? Then you guys, Yen, it's what you think. Shy, Ling Xiaoqi almost choked on a mouthful of blood. What's there to be shy about? I'm not going to eat this dog food. However, she quickly came to her senses and thought of something else. Ling, that's not right. Didn't you say that you haven't done it before? Ling, wait, you didn't do it last time because it was inconvenient for your husband to do it while he was undergoing treatment. Now that his leg has recovered, you guys, Yen, shy, Ling, shameless. Ling Xiaoqi kicked over the bowl of dog food and blocked Su Yiyen. As it turned out, she still had a lot of foresight. When Su Yiyen saw her words, she immediately wanted to spread more dog food to relieve her depression. In the end, he realized that he had been blacklisted. Su Yiyen. Angry ghost. This was Su Yiyen's second class at University A. Based on the foundation of the previous class, the students in the classroom and the professors who came to sit in on the class had already arrived early. Sitting in the front row was still a bunch of stubborn people. This group of people smilingly occupied the best seats so that they could see more clearly when Su Yiyen personally demonstrated. They even said that they were old and had poor eyesight, so they couldn't see at all sitting in the back row. Young people have good eyesight, so they should respect the elders and not fight with them. The glasses boys sitting in the back silently swallowed the bitterness of grief and indignation. Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 529. Su Yiyen didn't know if it was because she had a guilty conscience, but the moment she stood on the podium, she felt that everyone's eyes were on her neck. Fortunately, Su Yiyen had been through a lot, so she quickly calmed down. Ahem, before we start the new lesson, let's do a spot check and see what we did in the last lesson. Who is willing to take the initiative? As soon as Su Yiyen finished speaking, a forest of trees was raised from the bottom of the stage. Su Yiyen. That's not right. Under normal circumstances, shouldn't most people be unwilling to be picked to answer questions? Why was it reversed when it came to them? Su Yiyen looked at the crowd with a look that said, "Why aren't you following the script?" Then, she randomly picked a few people to answer the questions. She realized that the other party's answers were clear and logical. She guessed that they had spent a lot of effort studying and memorizing the lessons. After that, she didn't make things difficult for them and quickly got to the main topic. In the last lesson, what were we going to talk about in this lesson? As soon as Su Yiyen finished speaking, a few old people in the front row yelled at the top of their lungs, "Acupuncture." Su Yiyen. You guys aren't old, so take it easy. Do you really think you're still 17 or 18 years old? Ahem. That's right, acupuncture. But before we learn acupuncture, we have to learn about the human body's acupuncture points. Acupuncture points? Yes, acupuncture points, Su Yiyen said as she pulled the mannequin that Yi Qiliang had prepared earlier to the front of the podium. Everyone's eyes lit up. Yi Qiliang had asked someone to move the mannequin in the morning. Everyone saw it when they entered the classroom. Some students curiously went over to take a look. They wanted to touch it but were chased away by the old people, afraid that they would be careless and break it. When they saw Su Yiyen pull the mannequin to her side, they subconsciously straightened their bodies, wanting to see the mannequin more clearly. I asked Professor Yi to help me make this mannequin. The black and red dots on it are the various acupuncture points of the human body. In our human body, there are a total of 720 acupoints. There are 52 single acupoints, 309 double acupoints, and 50 extrameridian acupoints. The 8 extraordinary meridians mentioned by the ancients are actually a type of meridians and acupoints. Su Yiyen paused. What is worth noting is that among these 720 acupoints, 108 are vital acupoints, and 36 of them are fatal acupoints. Everyone below couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Achilles' heel. This phrase didn't sound very auspicious. The death acupoint, as its name suggests, is an acupoint that can lead to death. However, there was no need for everyone to be too nervous. Under normal circumstances, pressing and massaging these acupoints would not cause any adverse effects. The reason why they are fatal is because if you get into a fight with someone or accidentally fall down, a strong impact can be fatal. For example, the most obvious temple. Many people know that the sunken position next to our eyes needs to be protected. It was because this acupoint was the Taiyang acupoint, one of the death acupoints. Everyone knew that the brain was the most important and complicated part of the human body. When many people fall from a high place, they will subconsciously reach out to protect their head to prevent it from getting injured. And this temple happens to be the weakest part of our skull. Chapter 530. Su Yiyen stretched out her hand and gestured on the model. Because it's the weakest, it's also the easiest to injure the brain. Usually, we can rub it lightly to relieve brain fatigue to a certain extent, but we can't hit it too hard, especially not to hit it. If we hit it too hard, it'll lead to fainting or even death. As soon as Su Yiyen said this, some people couldn't help but exclaim softly. I know this. When I was in high school, I happened to see 2 groups of people fighting near the school when I returned home. One of them was especially fierce and even hit people's heads. There was a boy who was hit to this position and couldn't get up. Later, he died just like that. That person was also arrested because of this. Now that you mention it, I also remember something. Previously, I had a distant relative. He was a man in his 30s or 40s. It was said that he went to the toilet late at night. The road was slippery when it rained, so he slipped and fell to the ground and died immediately. Later, I heard from other relatives that a stone hit his head. Now that I think about it, it's really scary. Su Yiyen listened to everyone's discussion and sighed softly. She took the opportunity to say, so everyone must be aware that the human body's acupuncture points can help us treat illnesses, but they also have a certain degree of danger. Before you're confident, you shouldn't act rashly. Otherwise, you'll end up hurting people instead of saving people with good intentions. When the people heard this, they hurriedly counted and memorized every word Su Yiyen said. Today, let's learn a few acupuncture points on the hand. As soon as Su Yiyen finished speaking, someone volunteered. Sister Su, do you need an assistant? Just like the previous class, I can help. Like a stone that raised 1,000 ripples, this person opened his mouth, and the restless people below also echoed, I can do it too. Sister Su, look at me, look at me. I'm 1.8 meters tall and weigh 160 pounds. I exercise daily and have a strong body. I don't have any bad habits. Su Yiyen. Strong body and no bad habits. Are you here for a blind date or for a class? Go, 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 go away. Since you want to be an assistant, you'll definitely choose someone who isn't healthy. If you don't have a serious illness, you'll at least have some kind of illness. Someone like you who is too healthy should be eliminated as the first choice. Sister Su, look at me, look at me. I'm the most suitable one. The healthy student who was caught off guard. Is it wrong to be too healthy these days? Su Yiyen. You don't have to curse yourself like that. The emotions of the students below were surging, and the few old people in the front row could no longer sit still. You bunch of bastards, scram to the side. All of them are in their early 20s and are still alive and kicking. How can they be as sick as us old bones? Even if Sister Sue wants to choose, she should choose us. What does it have to do with you youngsters? That's right, that's right. You don't know how to respect your teacher at all. What did the teacher usually teach you? One must respect their teachers and know how to be humble. Usually, it's fine. Teacher will turn a blind eye to it, but this time, I won't give anything to you. The youngsters who were suddenly accused of not respecting their master. Who was the one who gave in? How could they bully Rao like this? Su Yiyen. You're all a bunch of old bones. Can't you know your place? Don't get involved in everything. Still alive and kicking. I think you guys are the ones who are jumping around the most. Chapter 531. A good demonstration was about to turn into a battle between master and disciple in the martial arts school. Su Yiyen's mouth twitched slightly. She decisively took out the acupuncture needles she carried with her and said loudly, "Since everyone is so enthusiastic, it would be impolite for me to refuse. But since I've already called everyone, in order to save time, I won't bother two people. I'll be called up to help later. Later, you'll have to help me test this needle." Su Yiyen chose the longest needle in the bag. It was thin and long, and could cause you to bleed at any time. Many of the people in the audience had never even heard of acupuncture before, let alone seeing such a long needle. The visual stimulation was indeed a bit of a thrill. In a split second, the classroom was dead silent. Most people showed signs of retreating. The 10 or so elders in the front row were the first to react. They realized that their chance had come. Sigh, if I don't go to hell at this time, who will? Let me do it. Young people lack the fearless spirit of sacrifice. People like us, who have one foot in the coffin, can only contribute at this time. The young people who were inexplicably dissed for being greedy for life and afraid of death. Inexplicably sullen. Su Yiyen. You guys are really giving it your all. Also, don't think that I can't see the crazy smile on your faces just because you're so dignified. You're really taking advantage of me and still pretending to be obedient. You're acting as if coming here is a generous death sentence. You're too spoiled. Su Yiyen rolled her eyes at the few people who spoke and simply chose a few elders who silently raised their hands. The few people who were shouting enthusiastically. They felt that after putting on an act for so long, in the end, they still made a wedding dress for someone else. Su Yiyen didn't care about their aggrieved and complaining eyes. She asked the few elders who were chosen by her to gather around the podium. Considering their age, Su Yiyen considerately asked them to bring a few chairs up. Now, let's look at a few acupuncture points on the hand. First, this position. Su Yiyen compared the model while she asked everyone to bend their fingers and make a fist. This position is called the Laogong acupuncture point. It's at the tip of the middle finger when we make a fist. What is the use of this acupoint? Su Yiyen reached out to one of the old men and asked him to pass his hand to him. This acupoint has many uses. Not only can it clear the heart fire and calm the mind, but it can also cure insomnia. It can also strengthen the heart and relieve high blood pressure. In addition, it can also nourish the stomach. Nourish the stomach? Yes, pressing this acupoint regularly can promote blood circulation, relieve neurasthenia, and increase appetite. As soon as Su Yiyen said this, everyone started to touch and rub that spot with curiosity. However, most of them did not dare to use too much strength. After all, Su Yiyen's Achilles heel technique had left them with some psychological trauma. In addition, the Daling and Neiguan acupoints also have the function of nourishing the stomach. These two acupoints are located at the midpoint of the palmar side of the transverse vein of the wrist and 2 inches above the transverse vein of the wrist, which is roughly around this position. Su Yiyen personally gestured the approximate location of the acupoints for everyone. In addition, one thing to note is that children are different from adults. Generally, the acupoints should be slightly closer together. As Su Yiyen spoke, she pressed on the Neiguan, Laogong, and Daling acupoints for the old man who had been chosen. Everyone's eyes were practically glued to the two of them. After a series of actions, it was unknown whether it was because her actions were really effective or because the old man was excited, but his face turned a little rosy. Chapter 532. A few old professors who were familiar with him saw that he didn't say anything, so they quickly asked, "Old Lee, how do you feel?" "Yeah, what do you feel?" Old Lee, who was in the center of everyone's attention, had a subtle expression. He could feel that his body was different, but the feeling was so subtle that he didn't know how to describe it. "I just feel, my stomach is a little warm, and my body is a little hot." Then, gulp, now, he didn't need to say anything. Everyone could roughly guess how he felt. His stomach growled in front of so many people. Old Lee's face turned red, but he couldn't help but marvel at the magic of this acupuncture point. His stomach had always been bad. As he got older, his body functions were slowly declining, and he usually didn't have much of an appetite. If it wasn't for the fact that his family had caries and his body couldn't take it if he didn't eat, he probably wouldn't have thought of eating. This was the first time he had such an obvious hunger and wanted to take the initiative to eat. Su Yiyen saw his embarrassment and smiled faintly. "Professor, you have to pay attention to your health even when you're busy with work. Don't starve yourself like this. It's not good for your health. If you don't have a good body, how can you continue to contribute to everyone?" Old Lee heard that she was helping him to smooth things over, so he quickly went along with her. "I've been busy organizing things these few days. I won't do it again." Su Yiyen smiled and quickly covered the matter. "Next, let's go to the Hoshi acupoint." The Hoshi acupoint is at the end of the horizontal lines behind the palm and finger joints. This acupoint has a certain effect on cervical, lumbar, and eye diseases. It's very useful for people who spend a lot of time at a desk or studying with computers. Next is the Yangshi acupoint. This acupoint is located in the depression between the extensor pollicis brevis and extensor pollicis longus tendons when the thumb and index finger diverge. Press on this position for 3 to 5 minutes at a time. It helps to refresh your mind and relieve headaches so that you won't fall asleep in class. As soon as Su Yiyen said this, everyone immediately roared with laughter. After all, everyone had the experience of wanting to sleep when they were confused in class, especially on a hot summer day. Running to class without taking a nap, even if you really wanted to listen to the class, you couldn't resist the call of the god of sleep and became a chicken pecking at rice. After a few classes, the way everyone looked at their hands had changed. Before this, they would never have thought that there would be so many acupoints on their hands. Furthermore, each of these acupoints had its own unique function. Su Yiyen could tell that everyone was very interested in the issue of acupuncture points, so he unconsciously talked more about it. In the end, he did not manage to demonstrate acupuncture to them. For this reason, the few old professors who were selected felt very regretful. They wanted Su Yiyen to continue this benefit to the next class, but they did not know what to say. Su Yiyen. Was it necessary? In order to avoid being pestered, Su Yiyen should have run away as soon as class was over, just like last time. But this time, she had something to discuss with Yi Qiliang, so she really couldn't run away. "Professor Yi, wait a minute. I have something to discuss with you." Yi Qiliang was stunned. Then, his eyes lit up. "What is it? Is there a special teaching tool that you need my help to customize?" Chapter 533. Su Yiyen looked at his expectant expression, which was the same as that of those old professors, and said awkwardly, "No, it's about me forgiving him." "Forgiving him?" Yi Qiliang's expression changed slightly. He looked at Su Yiyen in horror, afraid that this big boss would go on strike on the spot. Su Yiyen's scalp tingled under his gaze. "My aunt is pregnant with a baby. She will give birth in a month or 2. She's not old. I can't be at ease if I'm not by her side when she gives birth. I'm going to accompany her in a month. After that, I might stay there for another month or two before coming back. If you don't mind, can we change the weekend classes to online classes? Otherwise, I'm afraid we can only temporarily stop. Knowing that Su Yiyen was not going to go on strike, Yi Qiliang breathed a sigh of relief and immediately said, I don't mind. Let's use online classes. When the time comes, we will organize good people to attend the classes together. Then I'll have to trouble you. After informing Yi Qiliang in advance, Su Yiyen felt relieved. Just as she was about to go home, she was surrounded by a group of people. Unlike last time, most of the people surrounding her this time were girls. Susu, are you that President Su on the internet? Are you really a rich second-generation heir? Is your husband really as handsome as the rumors on the internet say? Susu, is your husband that handsome guy last time? Is his leg really healed? When are you going to bring him over for us to see? Su Yiyen was too lazy to correct them. She helplessly laughed and said, Why should I bring him over for you to see? That's my husband. Only I can see him. The girls surrounding her did not expect her to respond like this. They were stunned for a few seconds before they reacted. Hey, wow. Sure enough, the good women in this world are no longer single. The good men are also no longer single. Only us single dogs have no home. No, we have to be stuffed with dog food. Sob. I want to. Sigh, the cold dog food is on my face. It's too hard for single dogs. Su Yiyen was amused by these drama queens. Just as he was about to speak, a sudden clamor came from outside. The few of them were stunned and subconsciously turned their heads to look in the direction of the voice. They saw someone standing outside the classroom. Su Yiyen's eyes widened in surprise. She couldn't be bothered to continue talking to them and hurriedly rushed out of the classroom. Why are you here? Fortunately, it was a long holiday and there weren't many people in the school. Otherwise, those people in the classroom wouldn't have to sign confidentiality agreements. By the time they got home, the news of the two of them appearing in a university would probably spread like wildfire. Hua Chenhuan reached out and helped her up. She smiled faintly and said, If it's not you, can I pick you up at any time? It was true that she was living like that, but she didn't expect Hua Chenhuan to come to her so soon. I've already finished my class. Let's hurry back. Su Yiyen had already noticed that many people in the classroom were looking in their direction. She blushed and pulled Hua Chenhuan to leave. Hua Chenhuan didn't intend to leave just like that. Instead, he took a step back and opened his arms. Su Yiyen was a little confused. What are you doing? Fulfilling your wish. Fulfilling my wish? What do I have? Su Yiyen's words were stuck in her throat. She suddenly remembered the first time they entered the game. She was like a pendant hanging on Hua Chenhuan's body. She even hoped that one day, they could be like this in real life. Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Clearly Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 534. Looking at Hua Chenhuan's solemn expression, as if she was completing an important ceremony, Su Yiyen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The two of them were so anxious that the people behind them started pointing at them and whispering. Su Yiyen blushed and went forward to hug Hua Chenhuan's neck. She jumped up and allowed Hua Chenhuan to carry her away like a child. F***ck. Not far away, the people who were secretly observing them were stunned by this novel combination. When Su Yiyen was carried into the car, she was like a cooked shrimp. She covered her eyes and curled up in Hua Chenhuan's arms. She wanted to play dead until the end. Hua Chenhuan looked at her and couldn't help but poke her. She chuckled and said, Weren't you looking forward to it before? Why are you so shy now? How could it be the same? Previously, it was just the two of them in the game. Of course, she could do whatever she wanted. Anyway, no one else could see. Now, they were in public, in front of so many strangers. Most importantly, most of these strangers were her recent students. So, was she leading the way to abuse single people in school and mislead them? Su Yiyen's mind was already filled with complaints. When she came to her senses, she realized that the car was driving on a road that was completely unfamiliar to her. This road doesn't seem to be the way home. Aren't we going home? We're not going home. Hu Chenhuan gently held Su Yiyen's hand and smiled. I'm taking you on a date. A date? Su Yiyen couldn't care less about her shyness. Where are we going on a date? You'll know when we get there. Hu Chenhuan kept her in suspense. Su Yiyen blinked and looked forward to it. Although they were married, they hadn't really gone on many dates. Previously, it was because their wedding date was close and Hu Chenhuan didn't like to go to public places because of her leg problem. This was their first date since Hu Chenhuan's recovery, not counting the game. Su Yiyen couldn't deny that he was looking forward to it. The car took a detour to a remote mountain. The mountain was not big, but the ecological environment was well protected. It was lush and verdant, and one could faintly hear the cries of animals at night. This was quite rare in City A where the population was exploding. When the car was halfway up the mountain, it became a stone walkway. They couldn't continue going up. Su Yiyen got out of the car and looked at the long stone steps, as well as the dense lights on both sides of the stone steps. He was surprised and curious. Are we still going up? Yes. Hu Chenhuan glanced at the place she hadn't set foot in for nearly 10 years, and her eyes flashed. Let's go. Su Yiyen noticed the change in Hu Chenhuan's expression. Her intuition told her that there was something he was concerned about. The mountain wind at night was a little cold. It blew on the two of them, taking away a lot of fatigue and heat. Even so, halfway up, Su Yiyen still couldn't bear it. She had stood for the whole afternoon in class, and now she had walked for so long. Her legs were beginning to ache. Hu Chenhuan obviously expected this. He stopped and stood in front of Su Yiyen. With his back to her, he bowed and said, "Come up." Su Yiyen was stunned. No, I can still go back." Hu Chenhuan turned to look at her and said with a faint smile, "Do you think I can't carry you?" Su Yiyen. Although it was the truth, when it came from his mouth, it sounded like he was complaining that she was fat. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 535. In the end, Su Yiyen couldn't persuade Hu Chenhuan. She stretched out her arms and hung from his arms to his back. "If you're tired, follow me. I can walk on my own." There were hundreds of steps behind her. If she was too tired and her legs went soft, it would be no joke. "Don't worry. With your weight, another one won't be a problem." Su Yiyen. She suspected that he was bluffing, but she didn't have any evidence. The mountain was particularly quiet at night, especially when there weren't many people around. Only the chirping of birds and insects could be heard, which calmed people's restless mood. Su Yiyen leaned on Hu Chenhuan's shoulder and looked at the steps that extended to the top of the mountain. She seemed to have thought of something and laughed out loud. Hu Chenhuan immediately noticed and asked in a low voice, "What are you laughing at?" "I thought of our son." "Son?" Hu Chenhuan raised his eyebrows. "Dun dun?" "Yes." Su Yiyen excitedly shared with Hu Chenhuan the interesting thing that she had discovered recently. "Isn't our Dun Dun short? The stairs in the old house are higher than the stairs in my house. It's easy for it to climb the stairs in my house with its short legs, but it's a bit difficult for it to climb the stairs in the old house. 2 days ago, Uncle Zhang found that it wanted to climb the stairs secretly when we weren't around. In the end, its upper body went up, but its lower body was still struggling at the bottom. It couldn't climb up no matter how hard it tried. Their dog didn't have any skills in climbing stairs. It only knew how to jump. Its upper body would jump up first, and its lower body would climb up again. It was fine if the stairs were low, but if the stairs were too high, it was easy to get stuck and its lower body couldn't climb up. Uncle Zhang found it interesting and even took a picture of it. If this silly dog knew that its dark history had been seen by others, it might throw a tantrum and run away from home again. What Su Yiyan didn't know was that while she was talking, a dog that wanted to sneak up the stairs while its owner and dog father weren't at home was unexpectedly stuck halfway up the stairs. His upper body was flat on the steps, and there was nowhere for him to place his penis. His entire body was filled with a melancholy aura, as if he had nothing to live for. Just as it was at a loss for what to do, Roly-Poly, who was on routine patrol, quickly noticed its predicament and hurried forward to rescue it. Detected that the house pet is having difficulty climbing. Activate rescue mode immediately. Roly-Poly's big black eyes flickered a few times. Her round hand moved and with a click, it turned into a claw that was similar to a claw machine. She reached out and picked up a Dun-Dun corgi doll. Dun-Dun? What kind of operation is this? I'm really not a doll. Dun-Dun was still in a daze when he was placed on the ground. After a long while, it finally remembered and barked at Yuan Yuan. Don't think that I'll accept an outsider like you just because you saved me. I'll never give in. Roly-Poly tilted its head. It couldn't understand dog language at all. Dun-Dun saw that Roly-Poly didn't say anything, so it took it as a yes. Its watery eyes swayed and drifted to its round body, then swayed and drifted to its round head. Its eyes lit up slightly. Immediately, it laid flat on Yuan Yuan's round legs and tried to climb up. Unfortunately, Yuan Yuan's exterior was covered with a metal layer. It was slippery, and there was no point for it to exert strength on. Dun-Dun couldn't climb halfway up. It was so tired that it collapsed on the ground like a piece of dog biscuit. This is even more tiring than climbing stairs. I just want to take advantage of the fact that the owner isn't home to have some fun upstairs. Why is it so difficult? Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Claw bookstore for free. Chapter 536. After resting for a while, Dun-Dun still did not give up. It turned around and wanted to climb the stairs again. Roly-Poly, who had been silently watching it from the side, finally understood its intention. It stretched out its claws and picked Dun-Dun up from the ground again and put it on its shoulder. Dun-Dun was caught off guard and lifted into the air again. Its short legs kicked hard, and in the next second, it landed accurately on Roly-Poly's shoulder. It was stunned for a moment and looked down at the floor under them. Oh, this was the highest distance it had ever been from the ground other than when its master and father hugged it. However, it was still a little dissatisfied with this geographical position. It turned its head and looked at Roly-Poly's head, which was close at hand. Without thinking, it jumped up again. Because Roly-Poly's surface was too slippery, it almost fell off. In the end, Roly-Poly reached out and poked its butt, pushing it above its head. Dun-Dun, who had successfully climbed on top of its rival's head, felt that it had reached the peak of its life. It barked happily a few times. Cough, seeing that you're so considerate, I'll reluctantly accept you as my little brother. After it barked, it patted Roly-Poly's head with its paws, signaling it to bring it upstairs. Brother, let's go. After countless difficulties and obstacles, the robot and the dog finally succeeded in reaching the second floor and started the adventure. Not far away, Uncle Zhang, who had recorded the entire interaction between the two, ended the shoot with a smile, hiding his achievements and fame. There was one more activity material at home. It was really worth celebrating. However, these two were still too monotonous. He hoped that young master and young madam could work harder and give birth to a grandchild as soon as possible. When the time came, they could play together. Just thinking about it made his heart tremble. Achoo! As if it had sensed Uncle Zhang's sincere prayers, Su Yiyan's nose itched and it could not help but sneeze. Hua Chenhuan immediately became nervous. Did you catch a cold? No, maybe someone is thinking about me. If you feel cold, you have to come with me. Su Yiyen did not feel cold, but it was curious what Hu Chenhuan would do if it felt cold. If I feel cold, will you put on a coat for me like the male lead in the TV series? Hu Chenhuan, who was walking up the stairs, stopped abruptly. Then, she continued to walk up. If you like, that's fine too. What do you mean it's fine if I like it? In other words, you didn't intend to do it in the first place. Then what do you want to do? Go back. If you feel cold, we can go back. Su Yiyen. What kind of response was that? If you really feel cold, you should go back. But if you answer like this, it's easy to be alone for the rest of your life. Su Yiyen had a stomach full of complaints, but she didn't know what to say. At that moment, Hu Chenhuan asked, "Are you cold?" "I'm not cold. I'm very hot right now. I'm going to die from the heat. It wasn't easy for me to climb up here, and I didn't see anything up here. Are you telling me to go back now? Don't even think about it." Hu Chenhuan didn't seem to be surprised by her answer. He chuckled and said, "Hold on a little longer. We're almost there." Su Yiyen. What was she holding on for? She was easily carried up by someone, and she didn't have to exert any strength. Thinking about it this way, Su Yiyen didn't want to complain anymore. She asked softly, "Are you tired? Why don't you put me down? I'll walk on my own. I'm not tired. I like carrying you like this." He didn't have the chance in the past, but now that he did, he hoped that the road would be longer, and that he could carry her for a while longer. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle is Obviously in Love with My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 537. Su Yiyen blushed, happy and sweet. In order to pretend to be calm, she no longer stared at the front, but turned to look at the woods and the night view under the road fence. This mountain was facing the sea on one side and a city on the other side. Looking down from here, they could almost see the entire city. Thousands of lights converged into a piece, shining like the Milky Way, but more noisy and warm than the Milky Way. Although this place is remote, the scenery is very good. It's just that the traffic is not convenient, otherwise many people would come here to play. But in that case, I'm afraid the environment here can't be protected so well. Hu Chenhuan heard her silence for a moment and said in a hoarse voice, "This is private property. Without permission, no one is allowed to enter." Private property? Su Yiyen blinked and vaguely realized something. Just as she was about to ask, she was interrupted by Hu Chenhuan, "We're here. We're here." Su Yiyen was shocked and hurriedly poked her head out from behind Hu Chenhuan to look forward. She was stunned by what she saw. On the open field, there were all kinds of beautiful flowers. Green grass and branches were entwined on the walls and the metal arch bridge. It looked complicated, but it was not complicated. In addition to a large area of carefully trimmed green lawn, there was a pool in the center of the yard. A row of tulips was planted on the edge of the pool. Closer to the pool, one could vaguely see swimming fish. The water in the pool should be spring water from the mountain stream. It gurgled and poured into the pool, then swam along the pool's edge to an unknown place. Under the hazy light and moonlight, the yard was covered with a layer of faint light, looking like a secret garden in a fairy tale. Su Yiyen thought that the manor she saw on the island was beautiful enough, but now seeing this yard, she understood what was called outside cherry blossoms. Is it beautiful? Beautiful, this yard is so beautiful. How did you find this place? This is too. Hu Chenhuan looked at her face, which was difficult to hide the surprised smile, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up. This is the place where my father confessed to my mother. Your father and mother? Su Yiyen suddenly turned to look at Hu Chenhuan. Then this mountain, you said it was your private territory just now, it's private property. After my father confessed to my mother, he bought this mountain as a memorial. Then, according to my mother's preferences, he built this place on the mountain. Su Yiyen. Fine, I'll buy it. As expected, being rich and happy isn't something ordinary people like me can imagine. Although the Su family was considered wealthy, there was still a certain gap between them and a wealthy family like the Hu Chenhuan family. At the very least, no matter how much her brother or father liked it, they couldn't fork out so much money just to buy this mountain as a souvenir. Not long after this place was completed, my father transferred this yard and this mountain to my mother's name as a wedding gift. As soon as Su Yiyen heard this, he remembered the island and the manor that had been transferred to his name. Su Yiyen. So, giving your wife a large property when you get married is a custom passed down in your family? If she had a son in the future, wouldn't she have to help her son prepare an island or a mountain for his future wife? Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 538. Ever since she married into the family Hua, this was the first time Su Yiyen had been struck by the extravagance of a wealthy family. For the first time, she even had the feeling that she had married into a wealthy family. After my parents died, this mountain automatically fell under my name. Now. Hu Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyen with a teasing expression. It's yours. Su Yiyen's body trembled as if she had just woken up from a dream. No, there's no need. I already have the island that you gave me. Your parents left this for you. I can't accept it. Hu Chenhuan looked at her and couldn't help but tease her. Who did it belong to yesterday? Men become bad when they have money. Should I leave my money to you? I'm just giving this mountain to you. Why don't you dare to accept it? I'm not afraid. I just what? It's just that this place means something different to you. It's too valuable. I can't accept it. This place does mean something different to me. That's why I brought you here. As for giving it to you. Hu Chenhuan paused. It's my mother's idea. Your mother's idea? Yes. Hu Chenhuan moved closer to Su Yiyen's ear and smiled faintly. This mountain, this courtyard, and this building are all gifts from my mother to her future daughter-in-law. Unfortunately, she didn't have the time to give it away and left first. You're her daughter-in-law. If you don't accept it, do you want me to give it to someone else? How dare you? If she gave it to someone else, wouldn't she be wearing a green hat? I wouldn't dare. So, will you accept it? Su Yiyen, are you telling the truth? You're not lying to me. Su Yiyen was still a little doubtful. How could she just give away such a huge property? Moreover, she didn't even know when it would appear. What if this daughter-in-law didn't please her or was greedy? Why would I lie to you about such things? Hu Chenhuan held her hand. Do you want to go in and take a look? Su Yiyen glanced at the magnificent courtyard. In the end, she couldn't resist the temptation and nodded. Yes. This pond was specially dug by my dad. He liked fishing, and my mother liked tulips, so he had people dig this pond and planted a row of tulips on the side. Every summer, he would fish here, and my mother would cool off by the side. This arch is a pair with the one in the old house. One is black and the other is white. The patterns are the same. Back then, my dad had someone specially design it like this because he wanted to decorate this place as a second home. This swing here was made by my father for my mother. According to my mother, he made it very ugly in the beginning. It was bumpy, uneven on both sides, and not stable at all. She didn't like it at all. Later on, my father specially looked for a craftsman and learned for a long time. Only then did he become what he is now. Unfortunately, no matter how good a swing is, it has changed after so many years. Hu Chenhuan touched the rusty swing. His eyes were filled with nostalgia and some suppressed bitterness. Su Yiyen had been by his side the whole time. She silently listened to him introduce the plants and trees here. She knew very well that Hu Chenhuan needed someone to listen to him at this time. In the eyes of others, everything here might just be beautiful scenery that was worth a fortune. However, in his eyes, everything and every corner here contained beautiful memories that belonged solely to him and his family. This was something that could not be bought with money. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 539. Su Yiyen reached out and grabbed Hua Qinhuan's hand, holding the swing rope with him. Your father loves your mother so much, so he must have made a new one for her. Naturally, they won't need this old one. Hua Qinhuan took a deep look at her and chuckled. Yes, my mom left for a while, but she's still worried about half of the people. Even when she's gone, she won't be willing to let her suffer. What? Su Yiyen didn't hear what he said, but she felt that something was wrong. Nothing. Hua Qinhuan shook the swing in his hand. I haven't been here for almost 10 years. It's okay. We can come here more often in the future when we have time. The air on the mountain is good, and this place is so beautiful. It's good for your health to come and stay here often. Okay. The flowers and plants in this courtyard were all planted by my parents. Some have withered, but some have spread very quickly. Although they have invited people to come here regularly to repair it, there are still a lot of weeds. If you don't think these flowers look good, I'll get someone to repair them and replace them with flowers and plants that you like. No need. Su Yiyen said without thinking. This is good. These flowers are very beautiful. There's no need to change them. Those that have withered can be cleaned up and replaced with new ones. Su Yiyen knew that Hua Qinhuan said this because he felt that there was no point in leaving these things behind. However, she felt that each of these things were traces of Hua Qinhuan's parents, and it would be a pity to throw them away. Those that had withered couldn't be helped, and those that were still alive could continue to be taken care of. The main theme of the courtyard could be maintained as it was. They only needed to sow new seeds in the barren land, and let the new vitality bring this old courtyard back to the home that once made Hua Qinhuan feel warm. You can decide. I have no objections. Okay. Su Yiyen's gaze swept across the layout of the courtyard. Although he really wanted to explore this lush courtyard, it was already night time. It was pitch black and had been in disrepair for a long time. Who knew if there were any dangerous things hidden in the depths of the grass? After pondering for a moment, Su Yiyen decided to take a look inside the house first. Can I go in and take a look? Of course. I asked someone to clean the house this morning, so it shouldn't be too dirty. In the morning? Su Yiyen immediately grasped the key point. Did you just get someone to clean up this morning? When Hua Qinhuan heard this, a rare look of embarrassment appeared on his face. After Su Yiyen left in the morning, he immediately posted a request for help online. Asking the netizens, what should I do if I go too far in bed and make my wife unhappy? Was there any way to coax his wife back? Once the post was posted, there were quite a few people who came over and gave him a lot of suggestions. Of course, most of them came here to drive. The car that drove the fiercest and fastest was the most popular. Whether it was the number of likes or replies, it dominated the rest of the suggestions, leaving all the other suggestions behind. Unfortunately, Hua Qinhuan automatically oversold them and only chose some of the more reserved ones. For example, find a beautiful place to have a romantic date. Watch a movie together to lighten the mood, and then have a kiss, hug, and raise up high. Buy for your wife. As long as you are willing to spend money to buy more gifts for your wife, you won't be angry for long. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 540. As soon as Hua Qinhuan saw the word gift, he thought of the old house with a large yard that his mother had left behind for his future daughter-in-law. He immediately asked someone to come over and clean the house before Su Yiyen's class ended. Then, he brought someone over. Su Yiyen saw that he didn't speak, so she didn't continue to ask. She pulled Hu Chenhuan and was about to walk inside, but found that she couldn't move him at all. You. Su Yiyen turned to look at him doubtfully. Seeing his complicated expression, she suddenly understood his mood and asked tentatively, "Do you want to go in?" "If you want, I'll go in with you. Otherwise, we can walk around outside. This yard and the night view outside are also very beautiful." Hu Chenhuan met her concerned gaze, and his slightly narrowed eyes were a little warmer. He held Su Yiyen's hand and said, "It's okay. Let's go in. I haven't been here for so many years, and I also want to see what it has become inside." Su Yiyen carefully looked at his face. Seeing that he didn't show any reluctance, she held Hu Chenhuan's hand tightly and went into the house with him. This villa located on the mountain had a total of 3 floors. The white outer wall looked a little old due to years of disrepair. In addition, some plants and vines in the yard climbed up along the corners of the walls, adding a little green to the snow-white outer wall. The interior of the house looked quite clean, perhaps because it had just been cleaned. However, after so many years of not living here, there was a little more decay and a little less vitality. A beige sofa was placed in the spacious and bright hall, and all kinds of rare murals were hung on the surrounding walls. These murals had people, animals, and plants. The only thing they had in common was that their background color was almost all warm. It was obvious that the person who chose them was a very warm person. In addition, there were some beautiful vases. Unfortunately, because no one lived here for many years, there were no fresh decorative flowers in the vases. It looked bare and a little cold. This painting. Su Yiyen noticed that among the murals on the wall, there was a portrait that was particularly eye-catching. It was a portrait of a woman. The woman in the painting looked to be in her early 30s, mature and intellectual. Her watery eyes looked straight ahead, and the corners of her lips were slightly raised. The arc was not particularly big, but it was enough to make people feel the joy in her heart. Just by looking at this painting, one could feel her gentle temperament and the elegance in her bones, making people unconsciously feel good about her. Hu Chenhuan looked at the painting in a daze for a moment. Only at this moment did he finally realize that no matter how much time had passed, no matter how much he tried to deceive himself and others to forget. Even when he married Su Yiyen, he deliberately did not think about this place and handed it over to her. In the depths of his heart, this place was different after all. This painting was painted by my father. The person in the painting is my mother. Su Yiyen had already guessed in her heart. Hearing Hu Chenhuan's words, she could not help but sigh. Your mother is really beautiful and has a good temperament. No wonder your father loves her so much. Hu Chenhuan was amused by her words, and the trace of sadness in his heart dissipated a lot. If my mother heard your words, she would be very happy. No one would not like to be praised, and his mother was no exception. With his mother's temperament, if she was still alive, Hu Chenhuan believed that she would be very satisfied with the daughter-in-law he found for her. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 541. Hu Chenhuan didn't stay in front of the painting for long. Instead, he took Su Yiyen upstairs. The location of this building was rather special. Apart from the side that faced the front yard, the other side faced City A, where one could have a panoramic view of the night view of City A, and the other side faced the sea. Standing in front of the window, one could smell the salty smell of the sea breeze blowing over. Hu Chenhuan took Su Yiyen to visit the room by the sea, and then took her to the other room. As soon as Su Yiyen opened the gauze curtains that had just been replaced, she saw the lights of thousands of houses on the mountain path. However, from this position, it was more condensed and beautiful than on the mountain path. Hu Chenhuan stood behind her, reached out and wrapped his arms around her waist, and held her in his arms. This is my room. The room by the sea that we just went to was my parents' room. These 2 rooms have the best view in the whole house. They thought that young people like to be lively, so they left this room to me. I think they chose this room because they didn't like to be disturbed. Even if the person who disturbed them was me. Hua Chenhuan said this with some nostalgia and some grievance. Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh. She took the initiative to lean back and chuckled. I don't like to be disturbed either. Think about it. If we were at home, Dun Dun or Yuan Yuan, or both of them suddenly barged in. Hua Chenhuan. Well, as long as he imagined this scene, his face would turn several shades darker. Su Yiyan naturally noticed his sullen look, and it was difficult for her to hold back her laughter. However, she forgot that she could hold back her laughter, but her body couldn't hide her trembling. Hua Chenhuan looked at her helplessly, but his expression was better. He continued, after my parents passed away, I was afraid to come to this place. I even subconsciously wanted to forget this place. Because of this, he didn't immediately hand this place over to Su Yiyan. Compared to the old mansion, this place was more like his home. It only belonged to him, his parents, and the 3 Raos. As far as he could remember, his parents would take some time out every year to bring him here. At first, he would bring along Hua Xiaofeng. Later, no one knew what Hua Qihan and his wife said to him, but that guy never came again. Regarding this, Hua Chenhuan was secretly delighted. He didn't like Hua Qihan's family, especially Hua Xiaofeng and his nominal sister-in-law. If he didn't come, this place would completely become their territory. In this place, he had spent the best part of his youth. But in the end, everything was ruined. When Su Yiyan heard his words, she subconsciously tightened her grip on his hand. Her eyes were filled with heartache. Her man originally had a harmonious and happy family. His family was wealthy and his parents were loving. With such a family atmosphere, the children raised should be full of hope for the future. But in his previous life, he was like an old woman with one foot in the grave. He was rotten, twisted, and even crazy. Su Yiyan lowered her eyes to hide the sadness and heartache in her eyes. She comforted him in a low voice, it's all in the past. Now you have me. In the future, there will be more people. Okay, Hua Chenhuan responded in a low voice. Yan Yan, yes. I only have you. Don't leave me. Su Yiyan's heart suddenly trembled. Without thinking, she said, as long as you still need me, I will never leave. Chapter 542. The tens of thousands of lights outside the window were like shining stars, twinkling to show their vitality. The night breeze blew through the trees in the forest, rustling the leaves and the gauze curtains by the window. Under the dense light, 2 figures could be vaguely seen getting closer and closer until they were inseparable. The next morning, the 2 of them woke up early and returned to the family Hua. They thought that the family members would still be asleep at this time, but when they walked into the living room, they bumped into Uncle Zhang, who was holding Dun Dun and standing not too far away with a smile. Uncle. Uncle Zhang. Young master, young madam. Uncle Zhang looked at the 2 sneaky people, and the smile on his face deepened. Last night, the 2 of you, Su Yiyan was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Nothing happened last night. We didn't meet anyone. Uncle Zhang glanced at the red marks on Su Yiyan's neck, but he didn't expose her. He smiled and said, young master and young madam are both adults. It's not a big deal if you don't go home at night. It's just that there are all kinds of people out there. It's not like home. Young master and young madam should be more careful. It's getting late. Young master and young madam should go upstairs and change. I'll supervise the kitchen and have them prepare breakfast as soon as possible. The 2 of them were like students who had been caught skipping class by the discipline master. They nodded obediently and hurriedly said, thank you for your hard work. We'll go up right away. Uncle Zhang looked at the 2 people who were fleeing in panic. His smiling eyes were full of understanding that he could not see through them. Ever since young madam married into the family Hua, the house had become much livelier. Now that young master's leg had recovered, he was a little livelier because of her. It was good. Young people should be more energetic. How could they be so lifeless? Su Yiyan went to Dongqing City after a simple breakfast. As soon as she got out of the car, she bumped into Ling Xiaoqi, who was also coming to work. Tisk, tsk, tsk. Women are indeed different after having a man. Look at your rosy face. It's just missing the words "I'm very nourished" written on your forehead. What are you talking about? Su Yiyan flew into a rage out of humiliation. She pounced on her and was about to tear her mouth open. Ling Xiaoqi was already prepared. She quickly dodged to the side to avoid Su Yiyan's sneak attack. You're anxious, you're anxious. Ha ha ha. Su Yiyan's attack missed. Gnashing his teeth, he said, if you do it again, believe it or not, I'll send Dun Dun to your house tonight. Who knows, maybe next month your Hua Hua will be pregnant. Ling Xiaoqi's laughter stopped abruptly. She looked at Su Yiyan in disbelief. Are you a devil? Our Hua Hua is still a baby. Su Yiyan took advantage of her stupor and pinched her face. You're laughing at me. Am I not a devil? This is called giving him a taste of his own medicine. Ugh. Fong. Kai. I. Ling Xiaoqi's face was pinched. She couldn't speak clearly and could only glare at Su Yiyan angrily. Su Yiyan vented his anger and quickly let go of her. You're so cruel. My face is red because of you. Ling Xiaoqi rubbed the red marks on her face and glared at Su Yiyan indignantly. Su Yiyan glanced at her and couldn't help but poke the 2 red marks. He smiled and said, fortunately, I pinched both sides just now. One left and one right is symmetrical. If I only pinched one side, wouldn't I be killing someone with OCD? Ling Xiaoqi. That's too much. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 543. Ling Xiaoqi saw that she couldn't win over Su Yiyan. She rubbed her face with both hands, snorted, and turned to leave. Su Yiyan saw this and hurried forward to hold her hand. She smiled apologetically and said, Are you really angry? Do you know what you did wrong? Did I pinch you too hard just now? Ling Xiaoqi rolled her eyes and said, I was wrong just now. Have you been having a good time recently? No, you're right. She had been having a good time recently. Cough, cough. You're right, and you pinched me. Su Yiyan. Fine, she was in the wrong. Well, is it that obvious? Su Yiyan was a little embarrassed. Ling Xiaoqi rolled her eyes and poked her forehead. It's written all over your face. How can it not be obvious? Su Yiyan touched the spot where she was poked and laughed foolishly. Ling Xiaoqi choked and stopped in her tracks. She turned around and looked at Su Yiyan with disappointment. Do you smell something on me? What smell? Su Yiyan subconsciously leaned over and sniffed. There's no smell. The fragrance of a single dog. It's completely different from a flirtatious bitch like you who reeks of love. Humph. Ling Xiaoqi waved her hand and continued to walk forward. Su Yiyan finally realized what Ling Xiaoqi meant. She quickly stepped forward and bumped into her. She said with a half-smile, Jealous? Jealous my ass. Being single makes me happy. I've been with you for a long time. I can introduce you to my brother. My brother is a good man who can't be found anywhere. If you don't make an appointment now, in a year or 2, he might end up in the hands of some demon. How much do you want me to be your sister-in-law? Su Yiyan made a gesture. Just a little bit. But if you're willing, you can develop this little bit into a vast ocean. After all, we should keep the goodies within the family. Ling Xiaoqi. So, this fat water was referring to her or a certain someone's big brother? Ling Xiaoqi and Su Yiyan parted ways before they entered the entrance. They belonged to different departments and walked in different directions. Just as she sat down at her desk, Xia Junsheng came looking for her. Yayan, about Rui Yi. Xia Junsheng's words were stuck in his throat. He stared at her in shock, as if he had seen a ghost. Su Yiyan looked up at him doubtfully. What's wrong with Rui? Yayan, you. Xia Junsheng reached out and pointed at a certain spot on his neck. Su Yiyan suddenly had an ominous premonition. He took out a mirror and looked at his side. Sure enough, he saw that there was a, "Damn Ling Xiaoqi," what was written on her face. She obviously saw this thing on her body, but she didn't tell her. Xia Junsheng looked at his boss's gloomy face that could rain at any time and silently lit a candle for the unknown President Hua in his heart. Cough. I didn't see anything. As for Rui Yi, the acquisition matters have been completed. Do you want to send someone to manage it or simply merge it and let it become a subsidiary of Dongqing City? Let's merge it directly. Have you checked those senior executives, artists, and agents? Yes, most of the senior executives of Rui Yi are in prison because of tax evasion. The rest of them realized that something was wrong, so they sold their shares and ran away. The rest of them have no real power and are more well-behaved. Okay. Su Yiyan nodded. What about Luo Weibing's former agent? Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 544. That agent originally clung to a senior executive of Rui. As soon as the senior executive stepped in, he ran away. Su Yiyan twisted his eyebrows and his face was a little ugly. Did he run away? Luo Weibing, the former agent, was a living troublemaker. He bullied the weak and was afraid of the strong. Luo Weibing was tortured by him in the early years. After he became popular, he licked him again. It was a pity that Luo Weibing had seen what this person was like at that time. Although he didn't replace him, he was not very close to him. This person held a grudge, and Luo Weibing insisted on not renewing the contract. He was scolded by the senior executives of the company. He counted all these things on Luo Weibing's head and became more and more resentful. He boasted that he had discovered Luo Weibing and brought him into the entertainment circle. He was grateful to him. He believed that Luo Weibing's actions were ungrateful, so he wanted revenge. The so-called scandals between Luo Weibing and Su Yiyan, as well as the scandals about Luo Weibing's acting as a big shot and sexual harassment, were mostly caused by him. It happened that the senior executives of the company were also very dissatisfied with Luo Weibing's refusal to renew the contract. They wanted to mess with him, so they colluded with each other and made those dirty things. Even if Luo Weibing, the former agent, was not able to be a mastermind, he must be the biggest accomplice. He just let him run away. Su Yiyan was really angry. He didn't run away. Xia Junsheng obviously thought so. This person didn't get along with Luo Weibing. He had several artists under him. In addition, he had a close relationship with a senior executive of the company and secretly helped him do a lot of unforgivable things. After the senior executive was arrested, the people over there had been eyeing him. He wanted to run away, but he was caught as soon as he ran out of the door. Puff. Su Yiyan couldn't help laughing. It's good to catch him. Since he is involved with the senior executives, he should not be able to come out in a short time. Even if he comes out, some people will trouble him. It's safer to stay inside. Su Yiyan heard his implication and didn't continue to talk about this person. What about the artists of their company? Does anyone want to leave? Yes. Some of them want to leave, while others want to stay. Investigate the background of these rows. The good ones can be focused on nurturing. They can be compared to the standards of our company's rows, so there's no need to treat them differently. Those with evil intentions would either terminate their contracts or freeze them. Be careful not to let them cause any trouble. If you want to leave peacefully, you can terminate the contract peacefully. If you have bad intentions, you don't have to be polite to them. When Xia Junsheng heard Su Yiyan's words, he roughly understood her attitude towards Rui Yi. He nodded and said, I understand. I will send someone to take over as soon as possible. Also. Anything else? It's about our company's key IP plans. Su Yiyan was stunned. Only then did she remember that she had been inspired by the movie, Fantasy Feast, which was about to be made into a movie of the same name. Therefore, she had urgently acquired several network IPs with more potential. After preparing for a few years, they would spend a lot of money to focus on building these IPs and use them to make more pillars like Luo Weibing and Shui Kaiwei popular. These acquired IPs covered a wide range of genres, including original works, radio dramas and even comics. The story backgrounds were modern, ancient, future interstellar, apocalyptic zombies, gods and demons. Su Yiyan pondered for a moment. I remember that among the several proposals you presented to me before, one was a comic adaptation, and the other two were all adaptations. The latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Ming Loves My Joie bookstore was free to read. Chapter 545. These three were the most popular IP on the internet and had a larger audience. Among them, the comic was mainly about some funny stories, mixed with weird fantasy elements. If it was filmed well, it could become a hit even as a web drama. This kind of drama was most suitable for supporting newcomers. After all, newcomers might not have particularly good acting skills, but they had the advantage of being flexible. Once the character's spirit was shown, it would be easy for people to remember. What was the entertainment industry most afraid of? It was that people could not remember your face. As an actor, whether it was the protagonist or the villain, as long as the audience remembered your face, you would have succeeded. The other two IPs were adaptations. One was a modern drama about love and hate, and the other was an ancient drama about Peking opera. Over the years, with the stability of life after the migration, people became more and more respectful of the restoration of ancient culture. Many ancient dramas were born. Unfortunately, due to the loss of ancient culture in the real world, most of the dramas were like dogs instead of tigers. A lot of idol dramas with ancient culture were filmed with huge sums of money, but there were not many that could really become popular. One of the main reasons why Su Yiyan picked this IP at first glance was that the author who wrote it had a good understanding of ancient culture and could be considered a professional. He was not just writing nonsense under the banner of ancient culture without any basis. Another reason was that when the system was upgraded, a picture book that had nothing to do with medicine had dropped from the upgrade treasure chest. It was about Peking opera. With this skill book and some professionals, Su Yiyan was willing to take a gamble on this IP. What's wrong with these IPs? Not enough funds? No, we have enough funds. Someone wants to work with us. Work with us? Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows. There were many roles in a drama. Even if it was a drama that was used to promote their company's art, it was impossible to use people from their own company. Which one of these three are they interested in? It's Love and Hate. Love and Hate was the modern IP. Su Yiyan was a little surprised. In her opinion, the one with the most potential among the three IPs should be the drama about Peking opera. But on second thought, the subject matter of this drama was more sensitive, and it was a serious drama. In the eyes of outsiders, the chances of a failure were much higher than a success. It was understandable that they were unwilling to take this risk. Which company are they from? Zhuiying. Because she had accepted Dongcheng, Su Yiyan also tried to understand the entertainment companies in the industry. This Zhuiying company was about the same size as their company. It was a new company that was developing quite well. It did not have many artists under it, but their potential was not bad. What are their conditions? They want the roles of the first male lead and second female lead. In exchange, they can invest 10 million yuan. 10 million was not a small amount. Modern dramas did not need to simulate the background, and the makeup and costumes did not need to be too exquisite. The initial investment was lower than other types of dramas. The fact that Zhu Ying was willing to fork out such a sum of money for these two characters could be considered very sincere. Yes, but you have to audition and the director is satisfied. In addition, whether it was an artiste in the company or an outsider, they were not allowed to change or add scenes after the script was set. The details can be discussed. If anyone dares to casually add scenes and cause the main plot and other characters to collapse, they should get out of here as soon as possible. Let them add this point into the contract. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Ming Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 546. Okay. Xia Junxing noted down Su Yiyan's request and breathed a sigh of relief. If there's nothing else, I'll go out first. Wait. Xia Junxing looked puzzled. Is there anything else? Is the first draft of Fantasy Feast ready? Not yet. It's an original script. Although it's related to the game, it can't completely copy the background story of the game. The scriptwriter is still negotiating with the game designer. The first draft may take a month to be completed. Don't worry. Let them show me the first draft when they're done. Although Xia Junxing didn't understand why Su Yiyan was interested in the script, he still obeyed. Okay. After briefly discussing the internal affairs of the company with Xia Junxing, Su Yiyan couldn't help but think of Hu Qinhuan when she was free. What was he doing now? Was he at home or out? Where could he have gone? After absent-mindedly reviewing the documents for a long time, Su Yiyan couldn't help but take the initiative to call Hu Qinhuan. Yan Yan. As soon as she heard Hu Qinhuan's voice, Su Yiyan couldn't help but smile. Yes, where are you now? Listening to his wife's soft voice, Hu Qinhuan's face unconsciously softened. The company's executives, who were waiting for the meeting, looked as if they had seen a ghost. Some of the smarter ones subconsciously looked at Gu Xiaoyang and the others, who were sitting not far from Hu Qinhuan, and looked at them inquisitively. Gu Xiaoyang and the others knew what they were thinking. When they saw this scene for the first time, their surprise was no less than theirs. In the face of several inquiries, Yu Zian silently said the word, "Madam," to his trusted subordinates. When the subordinates saw his mouth, they immediately understood. It turned out to be "Madam." No wonder the boss suddenly changed his attitude. If it were them, they would also, forget it. If they coveted "Madam," they would be beaten to death by the boss. Hu Qinhuan didn't notice the actions of the subordinates. She smiled faintly and replied, "At the company." The company? You went to the company? Which company is it? Fantasy headquarters. Fantasy? Su Yiyan mulled over the name of the company, and it took him a while to remember. This seemed to be the headquarters of several companies under Hu Qinhuan's name. Zui Yanbai, Gu Xiaoyang, and Yu Zian were all subsidiaries of this company. Since Hu Qinhuan didn't show up in the company all year round, the headquarters adopted a rotation system. Basically, one person was in charge for a month, and a quarter was a cycle. Thinking of this, he suddenly felt that the three of them were quite pitiful. They had been squeezed dry in all sorts of ways, and they wished that they could take turns working 360 plus times a year. The three of them. I feel wronged, but I won't cry. Are you alone? Is the company environment good? Will you feel uncomfortable going to the company for the first time? Do the employees in the company treat you well? Hu Qinhuan listened to Su Yiyan's words, which were full of concern and worry. The smile in her eyes deepened. After she finished speaking, she reminded in a low voice, "Yan Yan, I'm the boss of the company." He was the boss of the company. Before, when he didn't come to the company, no one dared to ignore him, let alone now that he personally came to the company to work. After Su Yiyan finished speaking, she realized that she had asked a few silly questions. Her face turned red, and she didn't say anything. Seeing that she didn't say anything, Hu Chenhuan roughly guessed her thoughts. She took the initiative to change the topic. You called me at this time. Do you miss me? Read the latest chapter of The Male Protagonist's Uncle Obviously Loves My Joie bookstore for free. Chapter 547. Only then did Su Yiyan remember the main reason why he called Hu Chenhuan. However, he still subconsciously retorted, no. You didn't miss me. Su Yiyan was at a loss for words. Then that means you missed me. Su Yiyan. Although you're not wrong, why do these words sound so shameless coming out of your mouth? I missed you too. Su Yiyan's rebuttal was immediately defeated by someone's greasy confession. He felt depressed but also a little sweet at the same time. Su Yiyan, who was continuously teased, gave up struggling. He decisively skipped the question of who missed who and went straight to the point. Well, I called you because I want to, what? In order to thank you for bringing me to such a beautiful place last night and giving me such a beautiful courtyard, I'll allow you to order food tonight. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What do you want to eat? Hurry up, I'll change my mind if you're late. Order food. Hu Chenhuan's eyes flashed. Anything. As long as it's something I know how to do, anything is fine. Hu Chenhuan was silent for a while and said hoarsely, I don't feel like eating tonight. Huh? This answer was unexpected by Su Yiyan. Why do you suddenly not feel like eating? Are you not feeling well? Have no appetite? Before Su Yiyan could finish asking, a faint voice came from the other end of the phone. I want to eat you. Su Yiyan. Everyone. Who am I? Where am I? Will I still be alive after today? Su Yiyan's face turned red and he exploded on the spot. I suspect that you're driving, and I have evidence. Oh. Hu Chenhuan's expression was strange. His tone was so calm that it made people want to beat him up. Do you want to get in the car? I'll take you for a ride. Everyone was completely dazed. Car? What car? What were they talking about? It was too profound, and they couldn't understand it. Yes, they couldn't understand it. Su Yiyan was burning up. She resisted the urge to hang up the phone and complained, I'm being serious with you. What do you want to eat? No, I'll make the decision myself. Hu Chenhuan could tell that Su Yiyan was about to explode. She chuckled and said, I want to eat sweet and sour yen, braised yen, fried yen. Oh, forget it, let's just steam yen. The original flavor is the best. Su Yiyan, everyone. What the F***ck, did boss and madam know how to play at home? Su Yiyan's mind went blank. In the end, she still exploded. Eat, eat, eat. If I don't kill you, you don't have to eat tonight. After shouting, she didn't wait for Hu Chenhuan's reaction and directly hung up the phone. Hu Chenhuan was yelled at by his wife, but not only was he not angry, he even seemed a little happy. The smile on his face made everyone's hair stand on end. When he came back to his senses from teasing his wife, he finally remembered the room full of pitiful people who had been forgotten. Then, everyone was lucky enough to see their big boss change his expression on the spot. A few minutes ago, he was like a spring breeze, gently confessing to his wife and secretly flirting with her. Now, he was like the autumn wind sweeping the fallen leaves in front of them. Cold. Cool. No. Feelings. Hu Chenhuan's sharp gaze swept across everyone present. He said with a faint smile, what did you see and hear just now? Everyone. F***ck, this is a suicide question. Read the latest chapter of The Male Lead's Uncle Clearly Loves My Joie bookstore for free. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.